and welcome to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history. We are, of course, the podcast that watches every Razzie Worst Picture winner and discusses the year as a whole. This week, we are covering the year of 2006 and its winner, Basic Instinct 2. So, my name is Jericho Reed, with me, Kyle Szymanski.
Hello.
Let's get into it. Kyle, what was your prior experience with Basic Instinct 2?
Basic Instinct 1 is pretty much my only experience. I forgot this existed. I'm a sucker for weird sequels, especially later. Now they're legacy sequels and all that shit, but like it's quite unheard of back then to have something 15 years after or whenever the release was. So that's all I knew. I no real idea, no clue who the director was. Knew Sharon Stone was back. That's about it. I knew it wasn't liked either. I think I knew that it slid under the radar and just fell into obscurity. What about yourself?
Yeah, very similar to you, to be honest. I keep forgetting that it existed. I sort of like, even with the Razzies, I keep memory holing it. Like it's one of the ones that I just kind of forget about. I didn't really have any prior experience with Basic Instinct 1 because I only watched that for the year it was nominated for the Razzies. So I watched that within the last 6 months or so. And I always just got that confused with like Fatal Attraction or whatever, any of those kind of...
Yeah. Erotic thrillers, they all blend into one at some point, don't they?
Yeah. So oddly enough, the weirdest thing, like the reason it kind of stuck in my memory was from like 442, the football magazine.
Okay.
Or like sometimes an Empire, but weirdly the legacy of this film is probably that it features Stan Collymore, the footballer. Because I remember that comes up like, like these football magazines, they would just interview the same people fairly regularly. And I think it was mildly scandalous that a footballer was in like an erotic scene with Sharon Stone. So I just remember Stan Collymore getting asked about that like perpetually, and to my shame I didn't put two and two together, so when he turned up I was like, who is that guy?
Well, I recognized, I knew it was someone, and I looked up at the end because I didn't get my answer, but I was like, I know you, and this is what, 2006, so this is 4 years after he retired. Right about then? Early 2000s?
Just post-career, half a decade after he hung up his boots.
But yeah, the infamous, notorious Stan Collymore, Liverpool's finest.
Okay, so we'll do our usual budget thing. So on a budget of 70 million, how much do you think this film made?
I know it was a bomb, but it's also a name. So I'm going to go straight down the middle. I'll go with 35 million.
Oh man, you are... so close, 38.6 million. I think we have to give that one to you because it's within 10%. Like
I'm learning now. I'm learning. I'm getting better.
Make a studio exec of you yet, my friend.
It makes sense. I imagine this. I always say it's probably not a film either that made much on DVD or like home releases. It would have been. I doubt it was even bundled with the first one at all. I think it was kept separate and just. Fuck it, forget about it.
Well, in theory, this is a prime Asda DVD. Like, if this movie had any life on home markets, we would have been stocking the shelves with it. But I don't really remember, like you said, certainly not the bundle, and I don't remember ever seeing it.
Well, that's it. And when it comes to Verhoeven sequels, Starship Troopers always got bundled with the sequels. And you could buy the multi-pack and stuff. So RoboCop gets bundled with sequels,
Showgirls too.
So yeah, like this stay clear. It got, like you say, memory hole. They got completely eradicated from his existence, essentially. Didn't happen.
And here's where we release this episode and just get like attacked by a load of Basic Instinct 2 stans. So, without further ado, let's leap into this film. So, Basic Instinct 2, directed by Michael Caton-Jones.
Not a name I recognise.
Well, his other credits include Doc Hollywood, Rob Roy, the Liam Neeson Scottish...
Yeah,
and The Jackal.
Okay.
But Yeah, so he directed that from a Leora Barish and Henry Bean script based on characters created by Joe Esterhaas. But of course, that is not what we are interested in. The main source of continuity with Basic Instinct 1 is Sharon Stone as the only returning cast member, and the mystery novel author Catherine Trammell. So the film opens and she is racing through the streets with our man, ex-footballer Stan Collymore. And things are getting hot and heavy. They're racing through Canary Wharf, which this is when you were like, who is that guy? Like, I recognize him. And I was like, he is the guy who is about to die in a car crash with Sharon Stone. And I was kind of wrong because he doesn't die in a car crash exactly. They fly off a bridge and into...
Technically. Yes.
It's the Batman technicality.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill you, but that doesn't mean I have to save you. He drowns in a car crash.
Entirely Sharon's fault, though.
Yeah, 100%. Which I kind of appreciated because that's by like West India Quay, where I go to the cinema sometimes. And so I was like, oh, I've walked over that bridge.
Basic Instinct 2 tour is going to happen, isn't it? Location scouting. I want to say, right off the bat, I said it to you as well, it reeks of 2006.
Yeah.
The lighting, the framing, I mean, it's like, just there's so many movies from this period you could compare it to. The font as well, where all the titles are coming up. It's got that Equilibrium edge font, that everyone loves.
Yeah.
It's edgy, it's clean, it's very, very 2006. It's not timeless.
Yeah, it's kind of like early digital cinematography, isn't it?
Much
Of
so.
like, it's got that kind of clean look.
It's not appealing. and speaking of such, this is when we're introduced to Sharon Stone's return. She is noticeably old. I mean, it is 15 years. I don't recognize her from what she looks like in Basic Instinct 1. She looks like a different character to me.
Okay.
So I'm going to put that out
Kyle
there as well.
with his famous "women are not allowed to age."
Oh no, because that's an interesting film. Is if she wasn't really just if she had some growth and there's some
you
change.
want Cougar Catherine,
I want
who's like
something
preying on someone in a nursing home.
I want
where she belongs.
Yes, I don't want her to play 1991 Sharon Stone. Like before we get into this as well, like I think we spoke about Sharon Stone on this podcast on something.
She'll have come up because she won the Flintstones year.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Like we've touched on her a number of times.
I'm sure I've said before she's not been carried by the greats Woody Allen and Stallone in Ants. She's not one of my favorites. Like we can go into Casino and all the everything else is known for her.
Yeah.
But I wasn't excited to watch a Sharon Stone 2006 vehicle right off the bat. I was quite concerned. Let's just say. You were way more optimistic, I think, at the start.
Well, we've probably skipped over this. So prior to even Stan Collymmore's demise, we get the credits. And I was like beside myself watching these names. So we had David Morrissey, of course. He's the lead. But more interestingly, we had David Thewlis. Who
that was my one. I lit up for him.
Yeah.
Especially 2006. I was like, oh, younger.
Yeah,
I was excited for this.
Yeah, big Thewlis fans on the podcast. And then we had my beloved Hugh Dancy, Will Graham himself, gets chucked in a little further down the billing. So expectations were, if not high, they at least weren't low. I was like, okay, there are performers I enjoy in this film. I can't be in for that bad a time.
And again, even as I'm kind of slating the opening production values and all this, it doesn't look like Basic Instinct 1, which is honestly what I expected was just like a rehash of the first film. And that's what I was dreading the most, to be honest. It's just like a retelling 15 years later would have made me miserable. So I wasn't as optimistic as you, but there was enough there to go, okay, this is intriguing. This is going to be something different, I guess.
Yeah, so the opening is Stan Collymore dies because he's driving, right?
No, she's driving. He's on ketamine or some sort of drug that's whacked him out. She's going 100 miles an hour and moves his hand to start masturbating herself with it, and she goes faster as she reaches her climax. They hit a pothole, I think, go flying into the river. She does attempt to save him though, and not
Yeah,
very
she makes a
convincingly.
cursory effort
Yeah, a
to
cursory effort, and
save
then
him.
she gets the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And this is a bad little effect as well because he's obviously not underwater, not drowning. I know he's drugged up, but like, and you're asking Liverpool's finest 1996 striker to do a convincing performance, but yeah, like warning signs are there, but it's an opening. It's enough to make you go, okay, like this is something. It could have opened with a big plotting, slow, fucking boring thing that would have made me miserable. Opening with a speed in the empty streets of London's fun enough for me.
It could have opened on the camera panning over a like a prosthetic body, which we are led to believe is Michael Douglas, but which we don't see him in enough detail to have to pay Michael Douglas. Yeah. So the reason I thought it was Stan Collymore, like I was like, I'm fairly sure it's Sharon Stone driving, but I remember her taking his hand and then that leading to them
No,
crashing. So I was like, hang on, wait. Maybe it was. I was like, maybe he was driving because I was like,
no, because
if she takes his
he
hand,
asks her, he's like, "Am I driving?" And she's like, "Yeah, darling, you're doing great." And he's just eyes are rolling back, and she gives him a kiss.
yeah,
I don't know if she's a way to kill him anyway. I don't know if the car crash was deliberate. I mean, she's a psychopath, so like, I don't really know what the intent. I don't know if they what would have happened if they didn't crash. Essentially, I don't know if it was intentional or not. I can't remember, but she was definitely driving. She's in the driver's seat. Sharon Stone's never under any threat. She's never not going to be in charge here. Not
um,
happening now.
so we then get like the police examination, and this is where Detective Inspector Thulis is introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember, or is it the judge? Someone says the line, "You were having sex at 100 miles
Yeah,
per hour,"
it's his
and she's like, "Well,
co-inspector, detective, or whatever. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean that's it's a fucking again. This is red flag the movie because you know what the dialogue's gonna be, and
hmm
it does get progressively worse. Spoilers, we'll get to it, but
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I half chuckled, but
yeah."
yeah. So they're interrogating
What's her
her.
response?
I
Because
can't.
they're like, you were having sex at 110 miles per. You
No,
were having
100
sex at
miles,
100
and
miles
then
per
she
hour, and
says,
she's
"Oh,
like, I know it's a little slow. I couldn't get up
yeah,
to
yeah,
120 or
100. Yeah,
whatever."
I thought she sassed him with a bit of like, no, actually, it was
yeah,
110.
yeah, yeah,
I was actually, and then I'm sure she says we hit a pothole or something. Because
yeah,
again, British streets, so riddled with holes.
yeah.
Much like the plot.
Your new Labour government
Hmm.
not making sure the roads are in good working order. Okay, so we then get introduced to David Morris's character, who is Dr. Glass, but we'll just call him Bruno
Yeah,
because it's the color of night
it's Color at
again.
Night.
It's like he's a
It's
psychiatrist.
hundred
You
percent.
want to make an erotic thriller, you get a femme fatale and you get a
Well, that's it. So
psychiatrist.
basically, Thulis doesn't have evidence to charge Sharon Stone,
Yeah.
so she gets her evaluated by Bruno to try and find something or stall her until he can
Yeah.
find something. I don't really know why,
Yeah.
but yeah, we jump into Color of Night very quickly.
It's like take a big sip of whatever beverage you have to hand while I tell you that psychiatrist is never gonna fuck Sharon Stone
Yeah, yep.
because
That's you literally like you ate those words 5 minutes later, which I thought was fucking great. Yeah, no, wonderful. He's just trying to analyze her, I think, and she's being
yeah,
a worse version of Basic Instinct 1. There's a lot of similarities, I guess, to the first film here. Like, all this sort of, this is what they're going for. I know, like, it's not connected, but they're trying to make you think of the first film a little bit. And there's certain
yeah.
framing as well. It's like, okay, I know what you're going for here. But yeah, he's interviewing her. I can't remember what they fucking talk about.
So my notes are very thin on the ground here because this is just like an erotic thriller by numbers. Like we've
Really is.
seen this
We've talked
film
about it.
before.
If they're
Yeah.
sitting down and talking, I tuned out essentially. All my notes are the fun, weird little stuff that happens and odd little observations and bits on the plot. Actual times where in 60% of the film is two characters sitting down talking. Yeah, I just tuned out. I don't know why. I guess it's because I was dreading this as well. But like, you know, I never. There's films we've watched, but we're starting to get through so many erotic thrillers. Like you're saying, it's by the fucking
Yeah.
books now. I could have played dialogue from Color of Night in my head or overdubbed it, and I would have had no fucking different experience.
Yeah, so we'll just cover the characters, I
The
guess.
the characters, the plot, and the fun things I thought about this film. That's going to be my input today. I'm afraid.
Well, because my first note is the death of someone, and so I'm like, okay, well, we better just establish him while he's alive because we can't just immediately leap into him being dead. So Hugh Dancy is in this, and he's like a journalist. And is he dating
Yeah.
Morrissey's
So
ex-wife?
Morrissey's
Yeah,
divorced. Sharon Stone
yeah.
points this out fucking lightning quick with his wedding ring. You know, mark still on his
Tan
hand,
line.
tan
Yeah,
line, yeah,
yeah,
from the notorious Sun of London in mid-October.
yeah.
And Morrissey's white as a ghost as well, which is fucking
Yeah,
hilarious.
exactly.
So yeah, Will Graham's dating his ex-wife, who I think's also a doctor. But he's a journalist.
Yeah, Will Graham's look in this is quite funny because he looks like what does he look like? Like he looks a little like Kit Harrington because his hair is kind of like more wild than.
Yeah, he looks like he could be in 2006, like Arctic Monkeys, The Killers.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's an
exactly.
indie boy
Like
band.
Velvet Goldmine,
Mm-hmm.
like he's wearing a little scarf,
Mm-hmm.
and just like all in black, and he doesn't like he's like a yeah like kind of maybe 2006 Russell Brand
Mm-hmm.
almost
Mm-hmm.
like he because he's a crime journalist or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not like a Fleet Street guy. He's like a niche publication, I
Yeah.
think, isn't
I,
he?
I, I don't know if it is
So
meant to be niche or not because he is on. I mean, later spoilers when Morrissey looks him up and stuff. Kind of looks at the interconnecting plot elements. I think he was. I don't know. I don't really know. I think it's meant to be a big brand. It's just a no brand version of it,
yeah.
which is strange. But yeah, whatever.
He's a journalist at the Times, and yet he dresses like
Mhm,
Noel Fielding.
mhm.
Oh, Mr. Morrissey, have you read me bookie book? All right, in the bookie book about the erotic adventures of Sharon Stone. Exciting, nice to read a bookie book, if anything. So we then have our next character, the next person I have in the notes, which is Slavoj Zizek,
Mhm.
who he's a photographer.
An
Is
artist of
he?
some sort.
Yeah, he's
I don't think it's relevant. I thought he was like, yeah, he's some sort of artist.
yeah.
He's hilarious. I like how does it open with a painting of Sigmund and he speaks like Sigmund and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna and then it's the
You
fucking
know, the subconscious is a part of the yeah.
and then
Maybe he's not Slavoj
no,
Žižek. Maybe
because
he's a Paul Verhoeven
as
surrogate.
soon as he's yeah, that's what I actually thought. You know, we're gonna get a little dig or a little acknowledgement to Paul, but no, it's not. He's hilarious though, and I enjoyed his character. I don't understand his point in the film. What was his fucking point?
No, that's why I wanted to mention him just because he's a funny character, but he's of no relevance, and we probably, in fact, won't ever speak about him
Because I'm
again.
sure, did you not give him the painting that's got the German? Is that not some
Yeah,
shit like that?
yeah, he does something to advance the plot, but what it is isn't really because we're just watching Color of Night reskin, so
Yeah,
everything that's the plot, I'm kind of just like tuning out, being like, okay, wake me when the action starts
yeah,
happening. Okay, my next note is looking at the book jacket while they fuck.
yeah,
Because who is it he's fucking? Is it just like a random intern that he picks up at like Slavoj's
yeah.
gallery
He's like
event?
gathering. I mean, this is jumping ahead. I think the timeline
It's certainly,
is
yeah, because I do
flying.
not have
It's
many notes. So
flying
if
about.
you have anything you want to cover in between,
I'm trying. Right. So I'm trying. Let me try and reel it back in a little bit.
just to give the listeners their
Just to,
money's worth
just to give
here,
them
because I
moments. Um. So no, right. So because I think Hugh Dancy's dead by this point, is he not?
no,
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 he's
no.
not. Because
Okay,
my next note is regarding
Hugh Dancy's dead. Okay, so I'll
yeah,
cover that a little bit more in the sort of wastedness of Hugh Dancy.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think it's an intern or just another. It's someone. It's like a dinner party. They lock eyes, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's important.
yeah.
Basic,
Yeah, it's not like a long-term partner. It's like a
basically,
one-night stand who's
Morris,
like a
yeah,
bit younger than him.
Morrissey at this point's already, so he's interviewed Sharon Stone and he's intrigued. Let's just say he's very,
She's got inside his head for
yeah.
sure.
So now he's reading her books,
Yeah.
which are wonderful 50 Shades of Grey style standard, which is funny. And now because he reenacts a scene from the book with the intern as well,
Yeah.
which is strange. And that's when he looks at Sharon Stone picture
Like,
that, yeah, like, oh my god, my brain is scrambled from this film, and we just watched it. Like, I'm thinking of Color of Night far too often, and I'm like, no, was that not in is that, they're all melded together. So yeah, okay, no, get me back on track here, because I've tried to piece it together and I've failed.
well, that's my only note. I just completely tuned out, and then I woke up when the sex scene was happening, and it's kind of like it's just middle of the road, whatever, non-exceptional sex, and then he makes eye contact with
Yeah.
Sharon Stone's book, which is lying face down on his bedside table. And like her picture, her portrait is almost like the entire back cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's like her headshot, and so he locks eyes with her,
Mm-hmm.
and it just becomes like a oh huh, and then he just goes absolutely wild.
He does.
I think he like then bends her over so he can better look at
Yeah.
the book whilst fucking her.
Grabs the hair, which is the bit from the scene that he was reading.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is, and that's when, yeah, no, you're right, because that's when mid-coitus is when the phone goes off. He leaps off, answers it. It's his ex-wife, and she's like, I fucking need you here, lickety split.
yeah.
And he's like, sound.
And he's like, can it wait 5 seconds? I'm jacking off over a book cover.
And that's where he goes rushing over, and that's
Yeah.
where we lead to your next note.
This is Hugh's design, because I was crushed because he's barely been in the film.
He's barely been in the film, and this is where, like, so plot-wise, I got really disappointed, because I kind of started thinking he's going to be the investigative journalist covering Basic Instinct 1, and it's
Oh.
going, and he'll have, wait a minute, you're interviewing my girlfriend's ex-husband is interviewing Killer that I've been reading about from San Francisco 15 years ago, and I thought that's how it's all going to connect, and maybe he would die later on when Sharon Stone was starting to catch on and manipulating things. So just to wipe him out so quick, like, broke my heart, because now we're going to get a much stupider film than I was wanting or giving it credit for.
My hope for him being a kind of like fringe journalist was that he was going to be the Freddie Lowndes.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be poking his nose into the investigation, and like Morrissey might end up having to silence him in order to carry on.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was going to expose something about Sharon Stone or him and Sharon
That's
Stone.
exactly it. He's going to be like that cog in the system that's going to disrupt everything. He's going to be the stick in the cog track, rather, and he's going to make the plot interesting. And it's not going to be paint by numbers. It's not going to be either one way or the other. Like, spoilers, like, either Sharon Stone's going to frame Morrissey or she's going to manipulate Morrissey. There's only 2 outcomes in this fucking film. Don't ever think there's ever going to be any more. It's never going to get more interesting. We're not going to have interweaving things that are going to be really interesting and a cat and mouse chase. None of that's going to happen. So let's just fucking wipe that out the way with Hugh Dancy and speed on, basically. Speed on at 110 miles an hour.
Because I thought Hugh Dancy was going to be the Freddie Lowndes from Hannibal, but he's the Gimp from Colour of Night. He's like the goofy Gimp of like, he's just like a guy who gets killed in some kind of like fetish scenario. And so he's your backdrop, which is just like the most beautifully composed frame.
I know, right? I was really proud of it. I put more effort into it. I've got Morrissey's face in like perfect action. Oh, it's framed beautifully. Lighting, wonderful.
Yeah, so Morrissey's lit by sort of yellowish, the yellowish lighting of the room, and then it's like a perfect like foreground, middle ground, background thing of you've got them all staggered from like left to right. In the left you have like Morrissey's ex-wife looking concerned with her hand on her head. In the midground you have Morrissey looking mildly perplexed, And then in the right, in the foreground, you have Hugh Dancy just standing, just sitting, lit by a spotlight. So, like,
Yep.
the color of his light is just pure white.
Yep.
And he's sort of looking up, just
Wonderful.
like an innocent little lamb while he's wearing, like, a leather collar with a key around his neck.
Yeah, it's a Renaissance
it's a
painting.
thing.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a thing of beauty. But alas, unfortunately, this is our farewell to Mr. Graham. My next note, I kill because I'm addicted to risk. Did you kill him? If I said I did, would you believe me?
Yes. Yes, I would. Yeah. What's that? Is that Morrissey and Sharon again, is it?
That's Morrison and Sharon. I can't remember. I don't think this is in relation to you, Dancy. I think
No.
this is someone else. Because the whole
Stan
film is
Collymore?
just therapy scenes. Yeah, it's probably Stan Collymore.
Because
Yeah.
at this point they found out that Stan had drugs in his system and they weren't sure if he was breathing or not. And by
Yeah.
the time the car crashed, so it looks like she's framed his death.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like Thulis's kind of detective line, is that he's already dead and she's covering up a murder, not that he drowned miserably. So I believe that's what it's in relation to, but I could be so wrong.
I think you're right, because I was just completely tuned out. My next note is David Morrissey hates smoking.
Yeah, well, the film hates smoking. You said this. You said this. You called. I mean, I got annoyed because there's a lot of smoking in this film,
Yeah.
and that's not good for me. That's not good for when I'm trying to pay attention for 2 hours. I'm if Sheldon can smoke, I want to go smoke. I thought that was funny as well. When she's wanting to smoke when she's been like interrogated, and that's a crime. Arrest her. There's your evidence.
Well, because Morrissey flips out. He's interviewing like a potential killer, and yet the angriest we ever see him in the film is when she dares to smoke in his office, and he screams, "Put it out now, or you can leave."
That's later, but she smokes early, and he doesn't. He's just like, that's not allowed because, as I said to you, it's 2006, and the indoor anti-smoking laws have just kicked into the UK, in Scotland, and soon to be followed in England. So it's very fucking relevant. It's relevant to me. It's relevant to the time period. There's a scene at a dinner party when it's who the fuck is it that goes out for a cigarette? Someone else, some female goes out.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off as well because she's like, I don't want to miss the gossip. I know it's so antisocial to go out smoking. Again, relevant to the times. And she doesn't even go outside.
Yeah.
She just goes into the next fucking room, which pissed me off so much. And then Sharon Stone comes in smoking, and they're talking about smoking, and everything's smoking and anti-smoking in this film. And it's, like I've watched noirs, I've watched erotic thrillers, I've watched stuff with everyone smokes back in the day, but it's so weird, and it stands out so much in this film. So yeah, Basic Instinct 2, like, don't smoke, is what I took away from this film.
Well, we know that Mark Strong made some bank being the voice of coronavirus in the UK, but I hope that David Morrissey got paid a little bit by the UK government to reprise his character from Basic Instinct 2 with like, as of June 21st, 2007, it is now a crime to smoke indoors. Mm-hmm. Put it out now, or you can leave.
Cut to Hugh Dancy.
Okay, and this is my final note, which is just another piece of dialogue. Yeah, I told you, very thin on the ground. Sharon Stone does the backwards chair thing in one of her therapy sessions. And she says, when you think about fucking, and I know you do, how do you picture it, doctor? And yeah, that's just it.
I mean, I too have seen Basic Instinct 1 film. Thank you for that. Right, honestly, there's not much more. I know we're speeding through this. This is a record. Fucking Dirty Love. We're here for 4.5 hours. Dissecting jokes, but I really don't have much to say.
Striptease, we spoke for like longer than the length of the film.
Striptease is fucking great though. Striptease, so like I guess it's just my like review now, unless there's anything you really want to add. I mean, I want to talk about the ending. I really want to talk about the ending.
I've got like extra textual stuff to go over, so I guess I didn't take it down, but David Thewlis's, when is it he And David Lewis is investigating a murder, and he's like, "Oh, did you think I wanked him off and made him?
Mhm.
Oh, I found the body, I wanked him off and made him come just to get
Yeah.
the perfect crime scene. Is that what you think I did too?" But no, it's just a collection of moderately weird lines. So
Yep.
by all means, take us to the ending, and then we can
Right. So,
discuss the film as
because
a whole.
so yeah, ex-wife dies.
Yeah,
And Morrissey's obsessed with Sharon Stone. They get together. I think this last
yeah,
half hour of this, what we re-jumped into once we had a little break, really fascinated me because it got weird as fuck, and
yeah.
I didn't expect it to. I thought it was just going to peter out in the end, and Thulis saves the day. Sharon Stone runs away. Like I say, one or the other of the predictions was going to come true. So, as a half an hour towards the end is our first Basic Instinct 1 proper reference. It's not just a little shot. Like, at this point, Morrissey's been looking up archives and found out about Thulis's corruption or bad cop work or whatever the fuck he was doing. So he's got
Yeah.
the doubt that maybe Sharon Stone was innocent as well during this time. And he talks about, Basic Instinct 1. He asks her about Basic Instinct 1. And she denies it. And that's it. I think it's just like one line. It's
Yeah.
something about, I can't remember the boy's name from first film. You watched it more recently.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah. But the character's name. And
Michael Douglas.
and she's like, no, I didn't do it. And then I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, that's Basic Instinct 1. Like, I base your sequel around it, like, let's connect it more. Like, bring it back. Why are you in London? Why are you away from
There's a report here that says the last man you were with died of throat cancer after sleeping with you. Is that true?
There's so much you can kind of like delve into, sorry, here. So that took me by surprise because I forgot we were watching a Basic Instinct sequel. Like for a long time, I don't know why. I think it's because Sharon Stone doesn't look. I'm not meaning age, but she doesn't look or act like her character as much. She doesn't have Verhoeven directing her. Not that I love her in Basic Instinct 1, but like she is lazy here. She's not doing much. She's not delivering her lines with any conviction. She doesn't even smoke with conviction. She doesn't even look realistic doing that. It is lazy is the only way to kind of say it. Yeah, we're barreling towards the end. Sharon Stone's writing a new book, and it's she's not a very good writer, so she's just literally making shit up as she goes, and then killing and reenacting it, or she's getting her inspiration from real life, or whatever the fuck she's doing. Doesn't really matter. There's a point where Morrissey clicks about this, I believe. I don't think I hallucinated that. And then we are moving straight towards the fucking end where he clicks the other doctor. I think that's who was smoking earlier. I think I'm just muddling it up in my head. Is the next character to die, as people are getting killed off like the book.
Oh shit! Yeah, we haven't acknowledged Charlotte Rampling as the other doctor.
That's the other doctor. That's who was smoking. She's not important. She's not. Nothing fucking. The biggest thing we fucking neglected to talk about was the Scottish journalist, or
yeah.
which made us both have a little mark out moment.
Yeah, chalk that one up.
Chalk
another
that
Scottish
one up,
character.
Another Scottish, and you know what? A legit Scotsman as well.
I believe we had the lawyer from Bolero, and then we have the journalist from Basic Instinct 2.
The accents turned up for America as always, but I was like, it is a real accent, so that's nice to hear, isn't it? So there's the other doctor, and that's who Morrissey clicks is going to be next on the hit list from Sharon Stone or whoever the killer is.
Yeah. And
then he rushes over to confront her and save her, but twist is Sharon Stone's already there.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. And it's no, you're the villain, Mr. Morrissey. Thulis comes in, Morrissey shoots Thulis, kills him. I think he kills him.
Tragic.
Boom. We're gonna get you institutionalized in a mental home. Let's flash forward a year, a week, a decade, who the fuck knows? It must be at least a year. Sharon Stone comes to visit. It was you all along. You're the murderer. You killed your ex-wife's boyfriend because why would she be allowed to be with another man? And you killed your ex-wife, and then he killed David Thulis, and it's always been you. And I manipulated you all along, and I wrote it down in this book. with a terrible cover called The Analyst, and here's a copy.
Yeah, surprise. Morrissey has been the sweet and tender hooligan all along.
Yep.
And cut to black.
Cut to black.
Like,
Done. So yeah, like we have torn through that really fucking quick. Again, go watch Color of Night and then go watch Basic Instinct, or watch them on two screens simultaneously, and you can watch Basic Instinct too, which is so like here's my review because I was thinking about it. Like to
Yeah.
summarize it without going through the plot, just what I thought about it. This is not the worst film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competent stuff in it. It's not cheap as I thought it would be, which is nice to see. There is some interesting stuff in it. Like I think, and I don't know if you've done this. I think this is me doing this for the first time. I have the IMDb trivia page up because I wanted to look up something. I had a hunch. So yeah, I don't know. Have you looked them up?
Yeah, I've got a bunch screenshotted
Okay.
because I think that we've raced through the sort of film itself, but there's a lot surrounding the film to talk about.
Okay, well
so
that's what I want to
there
talk about,
is yet hope that we will release
Yeah.
a 4-hour
Yes.
episode. So
So here we get into this territory now because the film's over. It's 2 hours of mediocrity. It is forgettable. I will forget this. I have forgotten this film after watching it. It will be somewhere in the middle of the Razzie winners.
yeah, it's going to be direct middle. Like, do not, like, we mentioned the Goofy Gimp, we mentioned things from Colour of Night and Bruno that have stuck in our craw, but do not expect us to call back to this film
Never,
ever again,
ever again.
because there's nothing
There's
to
nothing
remember
here.
about it.
But this is what I was. So while I was watching it, like I said, when I was thinking of a better film, which I often do, I try and rewrite a film in my head, and I thought this is
Yeah.
obviously a film that was been through production hell. This has been rewritten.
Yeah.
This is my exact thought was this has been. I wanted to go prove it to myself to make sure I was right, because
Yeah.
it just smelled like it had been churned through multiple drafts. It felt like this had been.
Well, like, who in 2006 is like, oh, I'm going to write a screenplay for Basic Instinct 2?
Well, that's it. It's
This
not.
just seems
there's
like
no, there's
something
no
that's
way.
been.
This is a 1996 script.
Yeah, this
I
has just
don't-
been in
that's-
development
This has
hell.
been obviously, yeah, like it might not be 96 directly, but I can tell this is probably about 5 years after, probably post Casino, pre Ants for Sharon Stone, sometime in her peak.
Yeah.
And this was my thought. So you've got the screen caps. You can. I thought there's either a good script or this is a different film that's been rejiggered and retooled to be Basic Instinct 2. Like Die Hard 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Die Hard 3, we're going to take another Rambo films. They're totally different. We're just going to
Exactly.
rewrite it.
This is something that's either been in development hell for a decade, or it's someone has written an erotic thriller and been persuaded that they can get it made if they just retrofit it into being Basic Instinct 2.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say, because like that's kind of the main, like, most of the bad parts about it are the extent to which it's obligated to be a Basic Instinct sequel. Like, Sharon Stone's dreadful, and all the stuff surrounding her being like, I don't know. I guess once you strip away that, then it is just that like erotic thriller by numbers that we've discussed. But like maybe there could have been a little more breathing space, or the film could have evolved an identity which was interesting if it wasn't just this like sequel.
Well, that's it. That's why I feel in my heart that there's both. I believe there was. It's in development hell. This is my theory. And
Yeah.
You can correct me where I get along. I believe probably Verhoeven was going to do a sequel or be involved in it in some way. And obviously, Showgirls will throw that out the window. Let's do Starship Troopers instead. Make Kyle happy. I think there is a really interesting concept for a Basic Instinct 2. I think it's really easy to write a Basic Instinct 2. Basically, Hannibal, like sequel to Silence. This post life of a serial killer or a sociopath is interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many routes to go down. There's so many. We see it in so many other media and other shows and films. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it never got made. Verhoeven dropped out. Sharon Stone demanded too much money. It got passed about. So fuck it. Do we have a script lying about? Yes, we do. We have just the one called, some Seven ripoff, some psychological thriller. We'll throw in some erotic elements, pay Sharon Stone a buttload of money, and bish bash bosh, hire someone at a month's notice because no big name wants to work on this. We have a Basic Instinct 2 film. But by the time you've done all that, it's now 2006. and no one gives a shit. So it bombs horribly. I think, and I feel I was pretty close with that. I mean, maybe some of it's off, but I think a lot of those elements are somewhere in place. And yeah, so this is what kind of intrigued me. I was like, so if you take away the how do you make it better, I think Basic Instinct 2 is an easy film to make good. I think it's an easy film to, not this version, but to do. If you got an alternative
Yeah.
timeline and you approached me in the mid 90s, I would be able to churn out something that is at least different in what a sequel should be and following up and being, completely new take on it. But the production of it does make me really intrigued. And I want to know what the director thought about it. I want to know what Sharon, I want to know what Verhoeven thought about it, because it's weird. And it's such a weird little anomaly that just kind of, you don't get this often. You don't get these big budget sequels. You wouldn't get like The Lost World coming out 15 years later, but only Sam Neill returns, and
Yeah.
it's shit,
Yeah.
and it makes 10 million or whatever. Like that wouldn't happen. Things like this don't happen often. So I was like, there's got to be a story in there.
Well, let's jump in to my quotes from the film and my little things which I have uncovered while digging. So, the director, Michael Caton-Jones, has probably been the most damning about the film. He describing it as a painful experience, and he said that he was basically, where is it? He signed on to direct the film, later saying, "I was completely broke and had to take anything that came in. Basic Instinct 2 was this poison chalice that had been passed around, and eventually it arrived at my door." And then he said, "I reread the script and knew I had to redo it. I later learned the script had been around in Hollywood for years, and the movie was a deal film, which means that nobody really gives a monkey's how it turns out. But a lot of people make a lot of money as soon as it's made. It was a disaster. I wanted to get out, but I'd have been sued to death. Sharon Stone lives in a zone inside her own head. She's had to do everything to get up the greasy pole, and having reached a certain age, then wonders what to do. It's all about insecurity and fear, and to show she was the star, she'd turn up late, not know her lines, and she'd make appointments to have her nails done on the day of filming. There was no point getting into a fight with her, though."
And that almost nail on the head. I also want to say that it shows that Sharon Stone didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
There's points here where it looks like she's just reading off cue cards. There is points where, listen, we did 4 takes and maybe at the most. This is literally the best one. We'll cut it reactions about. Like, she's not dwelled on unless she's naked, essentially, because you can tell that the director knew it's a bad performance out of her. So
Yeah.
he gives more to everyone else to try and cover it
Yeah.
up a little bit, to try and surround her with Brits, and maybe people won't notice. Maybe she won't stand out as much, and whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds really likely. And I get it as well. I get it when it lands on, if I was poor and I needed work and here's a mega mega hit film needs a sequel.
Yeah.
You get, Sharon's involved, you might be able to get Douglas, you might be able to get Verhoeven as a producer or some shit, but no.
Yeah.
That's where it also ties into my time constraints.
Yeah.
That he didn't get time to redo anything is got to be made really fucking quick because it's going to development hell. It needs to be now or never, So yeah, that sounds likely.
Another little piece of trivia I have for you. Jan de Bont was considered to take directing duties for some time.
It's the one it was the one I seen, and that's the one I was going to bring up. Of course he fucking did. It's the biggest
He's
surprise
just like
of
this
this
Zelig
film.
figure. He's at the centre of
The biggest
everything
fucking
Razzie
surprise
related.
of this film is that Jan de Bont didn't direct it. Of course he or did something, because this is right up his fucking street. That makes me think again though that you can't even get Jan de Bont. You think this has to be made. Fuck it, we'll do it in London. We can do it in 2 weeks. Quick. Get it out. We'll sell it on the poster. Basically try and reprise. People, I don't know who this is for. I guess you're not selling it to a new audience that 40 odd Sharon Stone's a sex symbol that she was, and you're not going to sell it onto the mass nostalgia base and fan base of the first film.
Well, the funny thing is, most of the other pieces of trivia are regarding alternate casting, but one of them says, when Sharon Stone refused to reprise her role at the beginning of production, producers considered casting either Demi Moore or Ashley Judd. So, Demi Moore, again, blood in the water, Mr. Razzie would have been circling, he would have absolutely loved that. But It just seems insane that you would consider making this film without Sharon Stone. Because what would it be? Like, she's the only thing that makes it a Basic
If
Instinct sequel.
I see, I get it though, in terms of if Sharon Stone wasn't in it, it's straight to DVD, and
Yeah,
you don't lose any money, and
yeah,
like, especially if it's what you said, people probably already had like clauses and sell on things as well. Like, if it gets made, I get a
yeah,
million because I wrote this 10 years ago, or I had the rights to it after the first film.
yeah.
Tax write off, like we can kindergarten cop to it. We can just fucking throw it out into the ether and no one will care. That seemed, it honestly feels surprising that Sharon is involved, but she probably got paid very, very well for it. I
Yeah.
assume a big chunk of the budget was for her, which again in 2006 doesn't make any fucking sense, but whatever.
So my other piece of trivia for you: Robert Downey Jr. was set to star, but had to drop out when he was charged with drug
Yeah,
possession. The luckiest thing that has ever
yeah.
happened to that man.
Because this is '06 Downey Jr. Or '05 when they're
Yeah,
filming. Like, this is not
yeah.
Iron Man Renaissance man.
Well, exactly, and that maybe doesn't happen if he is in
Yeah,
Basic
yeah,
Instinct 2.
100%.
You just shift the timeline, and his like drug sort of rehabilitation
Mm-hmm.
arc occurs a little bit later, and someone else has already been cast as Iron Man. Yeah, bullet dodged there.
Well done.
Kurt Russell was attached at some point, but bailed out because he felt uncomfortable with the nudity. Insane to imagine Kurt Russell being in this.
I mean, yeah, again, though, you're thinking 2005 Kurt Russell is not.
He,
He had his, you're like post executive decision, post escape LA and stuff. He's not always the big name.
I can see Kurt Russell doing it the original
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of
yeah,
Michael
yeah. Yeah,
Douglas.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just can't imagine him doing the
Kurt Russell's
sequel in
not
the
hanging dong
2000s.
for less than
Because he's doing
30.
Sky High. Like,
Yeah,
why?
true.
Pierce Brosnan refused to play the male lead role because of distasteful
Yeah,
elements,
I get
which sounds to me like a euphemism for hanging dong.
yeah.
Bruce Greenwood was set to star but dropped out because he hadn't been signed on yet and feared the actors' strike. And then my favourite, Benjamin Bratt was banned by Sharon Stone for not being a good
Bam.
actor.
Oh, what the fuck? That is the pot
Because,
calling the kettle.
well,
That
because
that
they'd worked
screams in,
together in Catwoman.
yeah, that's screaming insecurities to me though. That's what the director's saying, like her,
Yeah.
she won't let this be sabotaged by a bad performance.
This production ain't big enough for two bad actors, Benjamin. You're out. And then we have another good one here. Rupert Everett publicly expressed his anger after being turned down to star opposite Sharon Stone by MGM CEO Chris McGurk for being a pervert who would never be accepted by the American public in this role.
That's fantastic. Put that on the CV. MGM say you're a pervert as well. Like, Jesus. Um,
Can you imagine Paul Verhoeven if he'd been directing? He'd be like, great,
perfect.
that's exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly what we're looking for.
Cast that man immediately. Yeah, and so before we get on to the Razzie worthiness of this film, my final piece of trivia for you: you said that you hated the score, and the score is really
I
bad.
forgot about it. I did forget about it. I didn't bring that up. It's almost as it's when it's at its best, it's as mediocre as the rest of the film. It's as forgettable as the
Yeah,
rest of the film. But there's certain scenes in the everything from like the action scenes in quotation to the sex scenes. Everything is so weirdly fucking misplaced. It's so odd. It's so
yeah,
cheap. It's so rushed.
yeah,
It sounds like a score that's been, yeah, I got something that I was gonna do for, something else, and here we go, I'll reuse some bits and pieces. It cheapens the film probably the most. It makes it feel like a TV show rather than a big Hollywood sequel. Especially doing it in London, again, also makes it
yeah,
feel so much cheaper. The score is shit.
yeah. Well, would it have made it better for you if I told you that Jerry Goldsmith was originally in talks to do the score before he died?
I was could have killed him, eh? It could have been the film that killed him. It could have been his fucking penultimate effort or whatever, like his final goodbye to the world. I'd have loved to see a Jerry Goldsmith score would have done great. Basic Instinct 1, put the fucking score over this film and you could improve it by 10% just to make it feel more of a thriller, a bit more, suitable, I guess is the word. It's so out of place. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, so the Razzie worthiness of this film, do you believe it was Razzie worthy?
Despite me moaning about it for an hour, no.
Hmm.
Sharon Stone, yes. 100%,
Yeah,
110%. She deserves a win here because she is shocking. And I know
yeah,
we've talked about something like even
yeah,
Demi Moore's can be no, 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 no. This is probably the worst. This is a proper stinker.
hmm,
But the film itself, everyone else tries. Like Thulis tries. Like a lot of them have to deliver nonsense, and
yeah,
I give them a passing grade just for an effort. For
yeah,
and all the supporting actresses are fine as well. They try. They
yeah,
put in some conviction. It's competently made, if rushed. Other than the score, it's shot fine. It's not
hmm,
it's not as cheap as it could have been. Yeah, like no, it's not. It's what I always moan about when it's so mediocre across the board. There's not any camp value to it. There's no so bad
yeah,
it's good value, but there's nothing to really praise either. No,
yeah.
it's not a worse picture. No.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Like, it's weak sauce. Like, it's just got the direct to DVD stink all over it of like it's generic. Like, it's not good enough to be worth watching, but nor is it bad enough once you take out Sharon Stone. It's not bad enough in any respect to be truly Razzie worthy, particularly in a year which had an outstanding candidate. So yeah, I agree with you. This is a very middling
Only reason
contender
someone
and
should
not
ever
really
watch
Razzie
this
worthy.
film, the only reason anyone
Mhm.
should ever watch this film is if there's a Paul Verhoeven commentary track out there in somewhere. Then I'd watch it over and over again. I'd watch it with Paul.
Yeah.
I would basically
John Waters on one side and Paul on the
have that
other.
wonderful time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no recommendation, but no, not Razzie winner. Exactly what you said.
So it won a whole bunch of awards. Worst Picture, obviously. Michael Caton Jones was nominated for Worst Director, rather, but did not win.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, he's kind of doing his best with a bad
Mm-hmm.
situation. Worst Actress, Sharon Stone, absolutely
And that's
deserved
a win,
because
yeah.
she is dreadful, as we have.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the
good.
win,
That's the only
as we have
one I
covered.
am.
Yeah,
If she didn't win that, I would have been furious. I don't think
yeah.
there's going to be a worse lead performance in 2006.
Mm,
Mm.
maybe worst lead female performance in
Yeah, yes, yes,
2006
yes,
because
yes, yes.
there's a worst supporting actor. Once again, I've been a little zen these past few weeks, but I'm now once again ready to throw hands over this. David Thewlis nominated for worst supporting actor along with another film. So I haven't seen that other film. I suspect you may have, so we'll cover it in the
Right,
second
okay.
half. But on the basis of this, not worthy
No, no,
at all.
no.
He's one of the better
He is.
performers in the film, to be honest.
He's got energy. He
Yeah,
puts an effort. He's
yeah,
convincing. Yeah, no, yeah, he's probably one of the
yeah.
better. Agree.
He's not given much to work
Well,
with, but
again, you're
he's
delivering the
fine.
worst fucking dialogue imaginable. Like he tries, and it's what they always say: a good actor can deliver bad lines, and yeah, he
Yeah,
can. He's great. He's a great actor, and you
yeah,
can tell he's a great actor too. Yeah,
yeah.
no, fuck that shit. I'm glad he didn't win though.
Well, as you were saying, worst lines. It won worst screenplay, Leona Barish and Henry Bean, based on characters created by Joe
Mm-hmm.
Esterhazy. Well deserved, because the script might have been good at some point, but it's been kicked around long enough or twisted and altered into this sequel that it's not really. I don't know if it's win worthy, but it's certainly nomination
Yes.
worthy. Like it's not good. It's bad. It's real
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
But
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Worst screen couple. Sharon Stone's lopsided breasts.
What? What the fuck? All right, like no, what the fuck? That is the most incel fucking
I
okay,
know,
okay, you
Mr.
basement dwelling Mr. Razzie fuck. You could.
Let's just cast our minds back to the most recent Razzie ceremonies where Mr. Razzie nominated Andrew Dominic and his issues with women for worst screen couple.
Whoa, whoa, like what the fuck? I did not expect that. I expected Sharon Stone in any character,
Yeah, yeah, for
absolutely,
sure.
but no, 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 like God, like right. So when I'm moaning about Sharon Stone age in this, it's because it's not really appropriate. Like I said, to be the seducing femme
Yeah.
fatale in your mid 40s isn't as effective.
Listen, women over the age of
Um,
50, women over the age of 40, you're not supposed to be sexual.
yeah,
Like, no
like
one wants to see like
but
this. It's
she
inappropriate.
and she doesn't
Just
look like she
head off the.
does. Like I mean, in the hair and stuff, she doesn't. hold herself the same way she does in Basic Instinct 1. She's not directed, she's just Sharon Stone reading minds.
Yeah.
However, all that aside, bullshit, like, she does look fantastic for her age. Like, she does. Like, I don't know how old she is here, but again, she's got to be 40 something. She does it great. And what the fuck? Like, that's shocking. That is absolutely shocking.
So I was on the lookout for this because I knew Mr. Razzie nominated it, and so I paid like a little bit of attention. And there's a scene in the hot tub where I was like, okay, they look kind of slightly, but that might be the way she's lying or whatever. I was like, okay, there's that one scene where I was like, I kind of see what he's meaning in that it's not absolute, it's not like complete made up nonsense, but like I don't know how you would click. Like I was looking for it because I knew Mr. Razzie pointed it out. I don't know how you could be watching the film and flag that up as like just cold. Because personally, me, I was looking at her eyes because they're up there. So,
you're a gentleman.
Yeah.
Tip your fedora. No, yeah, that's a fucking disgusting thing, though, Mr. Razzie. Like, that's bullshit. I'm sitting there slating her performance and all this, but like, get fucked. Like,
when we're done, we might need to tally up how many breasts have won or been nominated for Razzies, because Pamela Anderson's impressive enhancements and Barbed Wire were also nominated, and so like I don't know, it might be like a weird little hang up of Mr. Incel. And then the final award for this film, worst prequel or sequel. It won.
It won.
So
I mean,
yeah,
again, there's going to be worse. I know you're going to read out other ones that are going to go, yeah, that's actually a worse sequel prequel to me when we get to it. But I can't argue with it. Like, in terms of quality drop, like, yeah, of course it's deserved.
Yeah, I think this is. I think I can't remember what else is up for it, but I think this is one of those films where it's bad as a sequel because there's just very little. Like the only connectivity with the original is an actor who could not care less, and so that makes it bad as a sequel specifically. So we kind of touched on it before. The smallest change you can make to improve the film, and you're just like. Drop the Basic Instinct branding.
Yeah, I mean,
recast Sharon Stone.
You can make a good Basic Instinct too with Sharon Stone. I still stand by that. Even in 2006, there's still something you could do there. You could just drop the Sharon Stone and have a London thriller, fucking serial killer thing, a Luther basically kind of film episode or whatever. it could be an ITV fucking mini series. The simplest thing is probably the score and Sharon Stone, though. But yeah, there's loads of little things you could tweak and improve. You can make a better script. You could take out some of the shitty dialogue. You could cut a lot of the guff out and streamline this film a little bit as well. Yeah, there's a lot more you could do. So I think throughout this episode I've given so many I don't need to repeat myself. But yeah, it is an easy fix in a way. That not just one little tweak would make this a great film.
Well, my suggestion, I'll just tell you that Sharon Stone had said she was interested in directing a third installment. And so my tweak is to just make this more of a sequel, make this more of a franchise. And as I was watching this, I'm glad we're on the same page with your reference to Hannibal. I would include a post-credit scene where David Morrissey is in the hospital and the phone rings and it's Sharon Stone and you see there is a man in a hospital bed with bandages wrapped tightly around his throat and she is like, I hope you're doing well, Morrissey. An old friend is having me for dinner. And she goes and just smothers Michael Douglas.
Oh, okay.
Cut to credits. Sharon Stone will return.
I thought you were making a cunnilingus joke there. Camera pans down. There's Michael Douglas getting his throat cancer.
No, he's recovering from throat cancer, and then she smothers him.
Well, having me for dinner.
I will leave that to the imagination. Exactly.
Yeah, like I think a Basic Instinct 3 is really interesting. If you just kind of jump over these events, just like this one did to the first.
We don't speak about what happened in Britain. Yeah, we don't speak about my gap year.
You could just again throw in a little line that she manipulated people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I even now, even in 2023, like it would still be a fun thing to kind of I would watch a Basic Instinct 3. I'd rather watch 3 than a reboot reimagining.
Yeah, for sure. Legacy sequel.
Legacy.
I want Sharon Stone training someone in being. I want
Paul
her training
Verhoeven's
someone
back.
in the Basic Instincts.
Yeah.
Basic Instinct Maverick. Um, uh, okay, and so this concludes the first half. Join us for the second half of the podcast when we'll be covering all of the other winners and nominees.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the second half of Watching Worst Films. This is, of course, the section of the podcast where we run over the other award categories for the year of 2006. So, starting off with the also rans for Worst Picture.
I'm excited for this.
It's a fun year.
It is a good year.
So, our first nominee for Worst Picture is the Wicker Man remake. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Of course I've seen the fucking Wicker Man remake. Okay, just cut to it. Wicker Man is a notorious memed film at this point. Notorious for Nicolas Cage's performance. I really like the original.
I thought you were going to say I really like the remake.
Right. So
Yeah.
I had seen the original before the remake.
Yeah.
I really like it. I don't love it. I think it gets a bit too much love, I guess, as a cult film, literally.
Yeah.
But I really like it. So I like Christopher Lee. I like early 70s British horror and strange things. The remake is terrible. It is it is funny. It's a worse film than Basic Instinct 2. You can't say it's a black comedy or something. I did watch the sequel to Wicker Man. Is it The Wicker Tree or The Wicker? I think it's The Wicker Tree. Could be wrong. And it's terrible too, and that's the original director. So I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's funny, and it's probably good to watch with friends, have a laugh and a riff. But if you're going on technical, objectively, it's worse than Basic Instinct 2.
I think it's better than Basic Instinct 2. I think it's better than I like The Wicker Man. I don't like it, but I have some fondness for it, just because...
For its entertaining factor, yes, that's what I'm trying to get at. It is an easy watch, it's not a good film.
I don't know where to draw the ironic line, because I went in expecting a room level disaster, and I was
no.
I was like, parts of this are almost good. It's almost like it almost does Shutter Island before Shutter Island.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the original?
I've seen the original, yeah.
Okay.
So I think there are good things about it.
Yeah,
it goes off the rails for sure when Nicolas Cage is just running around and screaming.
Yep.
I was really absolutely heartbroken when I discovered that the bees scene was not in the movie, not in the final cut. Because I'll tell you what it was. I watched this in preparation for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I did a little Nicolas Cage marathon, watching a bunch of his films I hadn't seen. And I watched this thinking this would be peak unhinged Cage. And when they were burning him alive, I was like, well, he's going to get out of this somehow because the bees have to occur.
Oh, 100%. I guess, when's Ghost Rider out?
That's 2007, I think.
Yeah, okay, so it's close though.
Yeah.
That's more, Nicolas Cage isn't my favourite Coppola. Let's put it like that. I have mixed feelings on him.
Yeah.
If he's not directed by the Coens or David Lynch, I'm not. He straddles my. I can sit here and wax lyrical about Steven Seagal, but I draw my line at Nicolas Cage, so I'm a strange man. Yeah, I get it. The B scene. It's like you said. It's if it was more. But if it was kept in, maybe I would understand. I think it reminds me a lot of when I watched The Exorcist with Sophie, my girlfriend, and she was going on about the spider walk scene, and she was like, "Oh, that looks stupid," and I was like, "It's not in the fucking film, so you're all right. Don't worry about it." But it was that I will defend The Exorcist till I die. It's one of my favorites, but it's one that we said before. It's a film you've seen without seeing.
Yeah.
I think Wicker Man's probably seeped into a lot of people's subconscious this way as well
was,
now.
Yeah, notorious. We will deal with Nicolas Cage later on, but other little things I'd like to mention. So this is good utilization of the creepy Vancouver twins, who If you are a Vancouver listener, you'll no doubt be familiar with the couple of twins I'm talking about. For our international listeners, you may know them best from the Netflix series of Unfortunate Events. They play two members of Count Olaf's troupe, and they're like extras. They're in like every Vancouver indie movie, and they've been extras in some like big productions. And they're like two old women who dress identically and are just like, they creep me out to no end. And they're in this as cult members, and I'm like, A+ casting for whoever cast them in that role. And then the other thing I really like is that James Franco's cameo at the end. Like the movie ends. The movie ends on the implication that James Franco is going to be getting the B treatment next. Because some people are like, hey, why didn't you take a trip out to our island? He's like, yeah, sounds pretty good.
It's a flat circle, Marty. It's going to happen again.
So yeah, I just think that's very funny. 2006 casting to have James Franco receiving some sort of like righteous vengeance. Anyway, moving on, we have Little Man. Have you seen Little Man?
Little Man. So we discussed this. I know this is one you've watched. I'm 99. I said this a lot. This is where you could soundbite me into some of these second sections.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure I've seen this. I can remember it. I think I watched it on like Sky or something. I'm sure I watched it on DVD when it was bunged out.
Yeah.
Being a Wayans fan, especially when I was 17 or 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I seem to have blanked it from my brain. I think suppressed it deep down into like some dark vault that I'll never open. So I'm gonna pass on the little man, the lonely little ladies man. Yeah, I'm gonna hand this one over to you.
So I despise this movie. Like, we'll just start off with the reputation of the little man. So, friend of the show Kelly had a similar thing where she was like, that poster was like a fixture at her childhood video store and freaked her out. And I was like, I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know if it's probably a little too late for our video rental place, but it was either the library or maybe even us stocking it at Asda. But I could, like, I have the cover to The Little Man. Like, I could draw you that from memory.
100%. 100%.
So The Little Man loomed large in my consciousness. I want to say, like loads of people from my school they loved the Wayans. They were always quoting like White Chicks, and like people I went to school with just loved Scary Movie. Like Take My Little Hand was like quoted constantly. And I want to say like my friends were always doing like Little Man bits, and I just didn't get it. So
until now.
Yeah. So akin to my experience watching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and just being like, oh, so this is what people were doing all those years. Little Man was a rite of passage. I was initiated into the cult of the Little Man, and it was not unlike being burnt alive. So we'll just start off like the actions of the Little Man are reprehensible, but like it's disgusting on a purely aesthetic level because you've got the uncanny valley of in 2006 we weren't quite able to do. Like, I guess we're post Lord of the Rings, but we hadn't quite yet mastered the art of force perspective. So the Little Man just looks like an uncanny valley creation. He's like a Snapchat filter, or it's just like, it's so, like, the proportions just aren't right. And, like, you can tell, like, yeah, you could honestly do the Little Man better with a Snapchat filter now, of it's just his head stuck onto another body. And like everyone in the film's head looks a little off. Like I'm like, have they done something of just, we can't make the Little Man look good, so we'll just make everyone else look weird?
I mean, I'm gonna have to hand this over to you because it's probably a 15-year, 10-year difference. But Schwarzenegger baby in Junior.
I've never actually seen Junior.
You know what I'm talking about though? No. When he freaks out
Junior and Twins are like two of the only ones I've never seen.
Two of the best. The DeVito team up is amazing. There's a scene in it where I think it's when he's freaking out when he's pregnant and he imagines himself as a little baby, and it's Schwarzenegger's face pasted onto and it's got exactly what I mean. I could be wrong here. I could be speaking out of my ass, but I'm sure it's got exactly what you were just saying, where his forehead's massive
Yeah.
and his face is small because they can't stretch it out,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just this weird, proportionate, disgusting, horrifying image. Look it up after this. Viewers, look it up.
Yeah.
Give yourself nightmares. You would think technology would improve, but I guess when you're moving and it's hard to do without stretching. And then nowadays you could do it with a Snapchat filter, like you said, but you can't do it then.
So another little tidbit for you about The Little Man is it's a blackface film, or technically a black body film. So The Little Man was portrayed by little actors Lyndon Porco and Gabrielle Pimentel. They were the body of the little man, and Wayne's head was superimposed over the top. But they obviously couldn't find small black actors, so the two actors had to be painted black in order to double up as the body of the little man. So just as if this movie wasn't in poor taste enough as it is.
How long is it after White Chicks? When's White Chicks?
I want to say
04?
it's like White Chicks is 2004, I think.
Yeah, because it feels like just such a lazy step down from that, not holding White Chicks as the highest, standard, but like it really is. It's a stupid idea.
It seems to me that White Chicks was 2004. It seems to me like I'm surprised that they couldn't get like a little black actor, because to me it seems like it was made entirely off the crutch of what's the guy's name from Bad Santa? Tony.
Oh yeah. Fuck no, you put me on the spot.
Yeah. Anyway,
I know who you're meaning.
Marcus from Bad Santa, who is Billy Bob's sidekick. It just seemed like that was like, oh hey, it's funny when like little criminals do stuff. It just seemed like this was almost designed as a spin-off of like, what if Marcus had to go undercover as a baby? And like I've danced around it enough, but the little man like straight up rapes his adoptive mother in the movie.
Fuck.
Like,
fucking hell.
Like they have the bit where they're like, oh hey, the little man's gesturing that he wants to be breastfed by like random acquaintance. I'm like, okay, that's going to be the appeasement of the teenage boys in the audience, whatever. But no, there's a scene where like he has sex with her under the blankets, and then her husband is like enters the room and she's like, oh wow, yeah, you were really good the second time. And he's like, the second time?
Oh my god.
And the little man does like a hey, yeah. So the only thing I can say in the little man's defense is like the Wayans does some quite good, like he does some quite good like act, like when it descends into full Looney Tunes action at the end, he does some quite good like cartoonish expressions where like he's a good facial actor. It's almost like Nicolas Cage has spoken about like his kabuki theater and sort of like exaggerated facial performances. The little man could have done a good cartoonish Son of the Mask, like CGI baby kind of. That's the one saving grace I will give you of the Ladies Man.
That is generous as well.
The Ladies Man, sorry, the Little Man.
That was my fault.
Why do we keep giving this spin-off away for free? Tim Meadows is like, hang on, wait.
Oh, hang on a minute. He's not doing anything in 2006.
Yeah.
We can get him.
And neither are the Wayanses, the Wayans eye. Okay, so next up we have Lady in the Water. Have you seen Lady in the Water?
Big M. Night's first appearance, is this? On the podcast?
I think it's first extended discussion of him, certainly. We might have grazed over him, but I think this is its first.
I have seen Lady in the Water.
Yeah.
I would have seen this in 2006.
Yeah.
Probably when Shyamalan still had Pool. Even for me as well. I mean, I don't like Shyamalan, but when I was 16, 15, I did like Unbreakable.
Yeah.
I did like Signs. I did like The Sixth Sense. I don't like any of them anymore. I've rewatched them. I've not aged well for me.
Yeah.
So I do remember watching Lady in the Water. That's the one with the
Lady in the Water.
Nymph. Yeah, the nymph thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the
But
storytelling.
Bryce
I
Dallas
remember
Howard, who I believe you
Bryce
also
Dallas Howard.
hate as a woman
I
involved in
fucking
Star Wars.
just in everything. So I remember M Night in it as well.
Yeah,
I think that's the most infamous part. He's the storyteller, or he's God, or whatever. He's some sort of mystic. I don't remember it as well as I wish. Like I've forgotten. It's not memorable.
yeah,
It's probably its biggest fault compared to like I remember the village and stuff, and I remember all his sort of post, let's say, Unbreakable stuff up
yeah.
until Last Airbender. So yeah, like no comment. This is a really weird. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to rewatch it. I'd rather watch Ladies Man, Little Man. I'd rather watch Ladies Man and Little Man, and I'd rather watch The Wicker Man or Little Wicker Man, whatever version you're gonna watch. um, yeah, I
The
this
little
is this is
lady in the
a
Wicker Man.
the lonely little lady in the Wicker Man. Yeah, this is a hard pass for me. I self-indulgent crap, basically. Lazy, not for me.
So, bearing all that you said in mind, I watched it for this podcast, and I hate
Okay.
Shyamalan more than you, if that is possible.
Oh, okay,
In that,
okay.
I watched all of his movies too late. Like, I think After Earth might have been the first one that I watched. And so I watched Sixth Sense after having had it been parodied and like
Yeah,
ruined, and I was like, how on earth was anyone fooled by this at the time? And
yeah,
so I've never really liked him. Always kind of thought he was a bit of a hack. I've had little bits of time for his later films, but he's really good at some parts, but I don't know if he's ever made like a cohesive film that I've loved.
yeah.
And so I went in fully prepared to hate what I feel like is sort of held up as one of his, like, this is when he was just beginning to go off the boil. Like, The Happening is next, isn't it?
Oh,
Of
yeah.
like he's done The Village, and he's beginning to like get found out a little bit. So
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say as well before you can do your thoughts. I do think he is a competent director, but ironically, he's a terrible storyteller.
yeah,
Despite this being a film where he's the storyteller, I think.
yeah,
I think I seen The Sixth Sense before it was in
yeah,
the pop
done to
culture
death. Yeah,
subculture. Yeah, yeah. Like so, maybe the surprise. Maybe I was really young as well. I must have been like 12, 13. It must have been one of those like
yeah,
seeing adult films for the first time.
yeah,
I really liked Unbreakable, but again, it's that age bracket where I easily impressed.
yeah,
It's different.
yeah,
Signs I really liked up until the last act,
yeah,
and I still don't dislike it. I still like a lot of it, but
yeah.
then it's when I realized you're stupid and you don't have any fucking idea how to do this. Like, and the village was definitely the oh my god, this is even worse. Like
Yeah.
you do not know how to stick a lot. The happening again. Oh, there's 3 out of 3 where you do not know how to stick a landing. You have a pitch. You have a concept you sell to studios based off the Sixth Sense.
Hmm.
Here's a bunch of money,
Yeah.
and I will just fucking scribble the ending on the back of one page. So yeah, that's my Shyamalan experience, and also I think unlike you, I'm done by this point. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen anything past The Happening or this.
Have you not seen like Split?
No. Oh yeah. Fuck. Oh fuck. I forgot about Split. Yeah, I liked Split
Yeah.
to some bits. Split didn't feel like a Shyamalan film, and
Yeah.
that's probably his
No.
best compliment. Um, yeah. Fuck. I forgot about Split. I forgot about Split because of the other one, Glass, is
Glass.
it?
Yeah.
Which I refused to watch. So I merged them all up in my head there. Yeah. I don't hate Split.
Yeah.
That's probably my post Happening Shyamalan is Split.
That's his best twist for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is you thought this
Yeah.
movie
Split.
wasn't taking place in a cinematic universe. Well, surprise. So I went into Lady in the Water expecting to have a dreadful time, and I genuinely loved some parts of it. Like,
Okay.
in terms
Okay.
of cinematography, I think like it's maybe one of his best shot films. And there's one specific scene where it's like a locked off shot in a hallway, and sort of jump cuts with like Paul Giamatti walking, like taking out garbage or
Mhm.
whatever. And I just thought it captured the mood so well. And like there are aspects of this where like like Paul Giamatti is just like a great actor, and I think Shyamalan knows how to use him well. Of that character, just like really interested me. There's just such a loneliness and sadness to him. So even if I wasn't jiving with the story, there was that kind of mood which resonated with me in a way that like almost nothing in the rest of his filmography has. And like the Bob Balaban, like there will be people who like fulfill these roles of like the guide will be someone who's like this and someone who's like this sort of story structure meta-ness. It didn't work, but I could kind of appreciate what he was going for.
I feel that way about Signs.
Yeah.
So I understand exactly what you mean. And Signs for me, when it's good, is beautifully shot and
Yeah.
made. It jumps from genuine thrilling moments to family beer gain moments to comedy as well. That's quite well done. And there's so many things where it's like you do get this if you had a scriptwriter. If you were out doing something else, someone else's work, you could probably be really competent, really good. But you need to put the pen down.
Yeah.
So I absolutely understand where you're coming from. I just forgot Lady in the Water. It's sandwiched in between The Village and The Happening, or I think so. It's stuck between a rock and a hard place for me.
Next up, we have Blood Rain. I'm relying on you. I feel like you might have seen Blood Rain.
Fuck yeah. Again, this is Uwe Boll time.
Yep.
Right, yeah. So I have seen that's what's her name? Terminator 3 girl.
Christiana Loken, is it?
That's the one. That is the one. Christian I don't know, Christina Loken, I think is what they called her. Who I'm familiar with, Terminator 3 fan, obviously.
Yeah.
She was in Mortal Kombat Conquest, the TV show, which I watched as a kid. So I watched it for that. I had a soft spot for Uwe Boll films when I was in my teens. They are fucking dreadful. They're all video game remakes. Alone in the Dark, I've seen. House of the Dead. I think House of the Dead. No, Alone in the Dark is the one with Christian Slater. I watched that one for Christian Slater. Blood Rain, based off the video games, I didn't think was theatrical. It must be. And it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah.
I would say Uwe Boll is exactly what a Razzie winner should be. It is probably funner and campier now, and it'd probably be a good time to watch with friends. But in terms of like just the shoddy production, the weirdness, the thrown together, one take, everything which, objectively you should be rating a movie on, like critically, and basing Razzies off, in my opinion. 100% Blood Rain. It was obviously made just to underworld cash in the time, video game sort of establishment. Let's try and get some money in. Terminator 3 girl's not doing much. Let's just get her in. Yeah. I remember the other two, like I said, Alone in the Dark and House of the Dead are stuck in my brain because they are really bad, and he only gets worse. He is one of these German tax write-offs. He does films. Doesn't matter if he makes money. 20 million. They got huge budgets. 30 million, 40 million for this trash. I 100% think Blood Rain should have been higher. If it was theatrical, I for some reason don't think it is, but absolutely.
It was. I looked it up. In the US, it was.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. It might have been his last one as well. His last theatrical effort. Uwe Boll, someone we should be covering at some point. Uwe Boll is, a man who boxed his critics.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, are you prepared to fight him? Because I sure as hell am not.
I am not.
He's going to kick my ass 6 ways to Sunday. So.
Oh, he's gonna fucking bar. But I would love to have him on. I'd love to, because he's a strange man too, that doesn't almost, it's strange how he continuously got all these video game adapted and still up until semi recently, I think he's still churning them out. Did the Postal and stuff. Yeah, no, I didn't expect to see Blood Rain here.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see Uwe Boll on any Razzies. I'm thinking he's not going to be a target. But he 100% should be a target. Out of these ones, Blood Rain is objectively the worst. Subjectively, probably a good laugh. Riffing on it. I'm sure it's a cult classic now and everyone loves it for stupid reasons. It's got someone in it whose name I can't remember. It's got big name in it. You're going to tell me, is it
Michael Madsen? Ben Kingsley?
No, Ben Kingsley's in it, and he is her dad, I believe, like a vampire.
Yeah.
Could be fucking wrong.
No, you're right.
Ben Kingsley's. I forgot Michael Madsen was in it, but Ben Kingsley's in it. And to see these, Madsen's obviously not given great performances at '06 by a German hack. I get that, but like to see Ben Kingsley sort of fall in so far, and I know he's done shit. I know Kingsley's done shit, but like this is weird, and that's I can't remember, but I'm sure there's another big name, but
Doesn't get bigger than Meatloaf, but
oh my god,
the name you might be thinking of is Billy Zane.
Billy Zane's in a lot of Owie Bowl, so I'm sure he's in.
Zane described it as a pleasure to work with such a decisive director. And to that, I can only say, you should listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think Louis someone we're gonna have to get around to at some point.
Yeah, future special, perhaps.
He's probably. I think he'll never get a Razzie, which is, when we're going through.
Because Mr. Razzie's scared, he's gonna fight him.
Rightfully, I'd pay money to see that. So yeah, did not expect that there. Okay, that's fantastic. But yeah, that's probably my pick of the litter here.
So your question about theatrical distribution: the film opened in 985 theaters across the US on 6th of January. 6th of January. It was originally to have played up to 2,500 theaters, but that number dropped to 1,600. And ended up lower due to prints being shipped to theaters that had not licensed the film. Billy Zane was involved with distributor Romar Entertainment, and Uwe Boll later sued him for revenue owed. So it's interesting that you mentioned that like they presumably had that kind of close relationship where they collaborate, and yet he sued him. So I guess all water under the bridge. But
I mean, when you're saying soon as well, I don't know. Again, Uwe Boll's got that German tax write-offs, where they incentivize and all this. It's kind of notorious for making big budget movies and taking home a big pay cut without paying tax. I don't know if there's some shenanigans going on between. I'm not accusing Billy Zane. I'm not accusing Mr. Boll. I'm just saying there could be something.
Okay, you can interview Uwe Boll and I will interview Billy Zane, and we can speak about Holmes and Watson, and we'll just split up and have our separate interviews in case there's any bad blood with them. So that leaves us with just the winner, Basic Instinct 2, which, as we covered in the first half, not particularly Razzie worthy. You're saying the winner should be Blood Rain. Out of the ones I've seen, I think Little Man would be entirely justified as a winner.
Fair enough.
Moving on to our next category, which is Worst Actor. And we have a personal favourite, Rob Schneider in The Benchwarmers and Little Man as Gus Matthews and D-Rex. Okay, straight up.
Right, get it out of the way.
Mr. Razzie has no internal consistency because sometimes you'll see actors nominated across categories, and D-Rex is a cameo at best in Little Man. He's in Little Man for one scene, most of which he is inside like a T-Rex costume. So his face has like about 30 seconds of screen time. So really Benchwarmers is carrying the weight here. What do you think of Benchwarmers?
So Benchwarmers, I remember starting to watch it. I remember watching it. It was a double bill on Sky with, what's the Johnny Knoxville film where he
The Ringer?
Pretends The Ringer. It was The Ringer and the Benchwarmers double bill. I remember watching. I watched the whole of the
double bill.
It was because it would have been like same time they would have dropped on Sky Comedy.
Yeah.
I remember it vividly. And I watched The Ringer all the way through.
Yeah.
Can talk about The Ringer all day.
You scratched my CD. You picked it up in clear daylight and you scratched it.
And then I remember The Benchwarmers comes on afterwards. And I think I've already made it clear, I really... Hate's maybe the too strong word. I strongly dislike Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
He is my least favourite cog in the Sandler-verse. I can't stand him. And it's David Spade.
Yeah.
It's Spade and Schneider, but I can't think of who the other lead is.
John Heder, Napoleon Dynamite.
John Heder, yeah, and it's 2006, so of course it's John Heder. Right? And this is what post Blades of Glory as well. John Heder.
This is pre Blades of Glory, isn't it?
Okay, I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I love Blades of Glory. I assume he's done by 08. I could be wrong though, and maybe now that you're saying it, Blades of Glory is probably 07.
I think it's 7. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he redeems himself.
Yeah, it's 7.
I'm happy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Blades of Glory, but I just could not fucking stand this, and I turned it off because of Schneider. So yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see if Hader and Spade pop up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fucking hate Rob Schneider. I don't care that he's here. He shouldn't be here for Little Man. Sorry, fuck's sake, it's like a tick now. Yeah.
I'm gonna play Schneider's advocate. I haven't seen The Benchwarmers in years, but like watched it with my dad. I think I watched it with my dad, and I think I was like, I love this film. I have to show this to more people. And so I think I watched it with like friends round for a birthday party or something. And
is he the straight man in it as well?
He's kind of the reluctant, like, hey, I'm forced to. He's like the Vince Vaughn type of like, I'm gonna whip you benchwarmers into shape.
The one thing I remember is it's almost like he's the Sandler. Yeah, and he's in like The Longest Yard, and then they're wacky.
Like David Spade is the Rob Schneider, essentially.
Yeah,
like
he's
they're
a Joe
the
Dirt
losers,
role, yeah.
and he's like the kind of badass. He's the drill bit Taylor who's gonna.
That's exactly it. I remember that, and that's why I refuse to watch it. I'm not accepting Rob Schneider as my male straight man lead. No. No.
So I liked it at the time. I've heard from people who have watched it within the past 15 years that it's aged incredibly poorly, and a lot of gay jokes, a lot of like problematic jokes. So I'm not going on record with my love of The Benchwarmers, but mentally I don't have it categorized as one of the most obnoxious Rob Schneider performances. So hard to say. Then over to you for Larry the Cable Guy in Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector as Larry.
I've never seen it.
Really?
I know Larry the Cable. I've never seen it.
Wow.
I can talk about fucking Blood Rain, but I can talk about The Wicker Tree, but Larry the Cable Guy, even as a kid, even his shtick and stand-up just pissed me off. And again, I'm fucking 16-year-old Scottish kid, like I don't give a fuck. Yeah, like you couldn't. I mean, it's not a worse film, so maybe it was just his performance, his lead self-titled role is not up to scratch. But yeah, no comment other than honestly, Rob Schneider and Larry the Cable Guy. This is a fucking category, man. Wow.
So I was perplexed by the existence of Larry the Cable Guy for so long, because I was like, is he a character? Is he a man? What's his connection to the Cable Guy? So yeah, I have nothing to say about Larry the Cable Guy. Next up, we have Nicolas Cage in The Wicker Man as Edward Malice. So we've kind of already covered this. Yeah. Nothing much more to say. Like, it's not a good performance. He's running around screaming about things which are not bees and things which are bees, if you're fortunate enough to watch the deleted scenes. But yeah.
Yeah, not for me. I mean, yeah.
I like Nicolas Cage more than you, but yeah, I think even a Cage head wouldn't argue this is one of his better performances. So yeah. Well deserved, and listen to our 2007 episode where we discuss Ghost Rider if you want to hear us speaking about Nicolas Cage screaming and catching fire with another film. Okay, next up we have someone near and dear to your heart, Tim Allen in the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, The Shaggy Dog, and Zoom as Santa Claus / Scott Calvin, Dave Douglas / The Shaggy Dog, and Jack Shepherd / Captain Zoom, respectively.
Right. I don't know what the fuck Zoom and the Shaggy Dog are.
Have you not seen? I don't give a fuck. You must have seen Shaggy Dog at Asda. It's the kids' movie where he gets transformed into the dog.
Yeah, the dog. I'm aware of it.
It has the Manimal poster of he's.
Yeah. But like never seen it. So but Zoom I thought was a fucking kids film, animated film too, and it's probably not.
Are you getting confused with Bolt, the Miley Cyrus dog?
Exactly, which would have been about this time. Exactly, Shaggy Dog, Bolt, it's all merged together. However, I can talk about the Santa Claus 3 because it's come up before. It was on a fucking loop in our workplace. It could technically go down as my most seen film of all time. Of all fucking time. Martin Short is burned into my brain as Jack Frost. This film, again, I think we talked about it because I did get a little confused as when was the Tim Allen clones in which one was that?
That's 2,
But
where he leaves the North
that's
Pole to
2,
find a wife, and they replace
and he
him
gets
with
his
a weird
yeah
plastic facsimile, and
yeah.
it goes
So
crazy.
that did get a bit looped in. Yeah, strange. It's about fucking time this came up, to be honest. Yeah, like I mean, we've got like as much as I can joke about Tim Allen, I like he does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
By the third one, he wants out. This is
This is
just
his
pay me
escape
and
clause. Yeah.
this is my escape clause. So because the first one is a bit of a little Christmas classic to me. It's got a lot of nostalgia and time for the first one. The second one's shit, but I remember it.
Yeah.
The third one is it's diminishing returns at this
Yeah.
point.
The magic of Christmas is all but gone, and we're just
All
watching.
but gone, yeah. If it wasn't for Martin Short's like manic strangeness in this film, this would be a fucking hard watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's here. I think that's a hell of a fucking category. It's a strong year this year for worst actors, which I like to see. These are probably all actual Razzie contenders, so I will give it that. I mean, maybe Rob Schneider is a bit harsh, but
Yeah.
fuck him, get him in there. At least it's not Thulis or anything. Yeah, these are actual deserved performances, so fair play.
Okay, so I have seen The Shaggy Dog potentially in theaters with my parents. Shaggy Dog, beyond the terrifying, like, Uncanny Valley poster where you have Tim Allen's face photoshopped onto a dog, which is kind of generic, like, family movie. Shaggy Dog notable because it would be my introduction to both one Robert Downey Jr. and Philip Baker Hall,
Philip Baker Hall.
soon to become two of my like favorite screen icons when we get into Paul Thomas Anderson, and like Iron Man, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was about to go through like a massive Robert Downey Jr. phase, but I was introduced to him thanks to The Shaggy Dog. So when Tony Stark burst onto the screens a year later, I was like, cool, it's the villain from The Shaggy Dog. 2 years later.
That's great. That's your Kyle MacLachlan. It's the boy from the Flintstones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's fantastic.
And then Zoom, I've 100% seen Zoom, but I think I got Zoom confused with, I think I've combined that with Sky High, because they're both
Okay, I remember, yeah.
like the subtitle for Zoom is Zoom Academy for Superheroes.
I would have said that Sky High or of Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Straight, yeah, one of his.
Because we mentioned Kurt Russell from Sky High in the first half, so it must have been round about now.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And then Tim Allen, because
it's stuck in your head.
The reason I was like I don't remember Tim Allen. I was like, oh, I've seen the Kurt Russell one for sure, and I was like, and Kate Mara is in it. And then I was like, no, hang on, wait, Kate Mara is in Zoom, Razzie nominee Kate Mara. And then I was like, oh, I think I'm getting confused with Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Kate Mara. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in Sky High and Kate Mara is in Zoom, which means I have seen both of them.
What year is Sky High? Is it 06?
It might be a little earlier. I'll just look it up for you.
I want it to be my aunt's Bugs Life thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which I get to bring up ants for the second time this episode.
It was great. It was 2005, so potentially... With UK release, we might have looked at something where, like, if Sky High came out, and yeah, it could have been.
Kurt Russell shot first, though. That's all that matters
to me. Okay, and then we have the winner, which some new Razzie bullshit here from Mr. Razzie. Marlon Wayans and Sean Wayans in Little Man as Calvin Sims and Daryl Edwards. So how are you going to give worst actor to two separate
winners,
people?
right?
It doesn't say slash. Like, it doesn't have anything that suggests it would be like a tie. It's
because they've done that before, haven't they?
Like, yeah.
Where
you
slash,
get 2 awards,
it's like
joined, whatever. We can't split you. But the fact that he says "and" makes it almost like it's like a stuck on you situation where they both have to.
So they would get one Razzie between them for when I hunt it out to give it out to them. They're only gonna get one. That's bullshit. You can't do that. They're not the same person. Mr. Razzie. Can't tell his Wayne's apart, and he's fucking stupid. Yeah, I guess you're gonna say it's well deserved. I'd assume the one that is the baby is worse.
Yeah, Marlon's worse for sure. Marlon's worse, but he's also better in that he has those weird cartoonish expressions, and so he does more
Yeah,
stuff that works. But he's also at the center of most of the crashing and failing, whereas Sean Wayne's
yeah,
just kind of playing the straight man. So a limit to how bad you can be. What what should have happened was the Mr. Razzie is being very problematic here in that he is erasing the lived experience of Lyndon Porco and Gabrielle Pimentel because that Razzie should be shared between not two but three, and it should be Marlon
yeah.
Wayans and the two actors who physically portrayed the little man.
All four people, one award. We'll share it out.
Yeah, so that's my pitch.
That's fine.
But yeah, the Razzie going to someone from the little man is probably the right call, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's fair. That's fair.
Moving on to worst actress, we have Jessica Simpson in Employee of the Month as Amy
Oh yeah,
Renfro. Have you seen
I've seen. I
Employee of
have
the
seen
Month?
this. That's got that hot comedian. What's his name in it?
Dane Cook,
No, 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 no.
the guy who played
The
Pedro
other,
from Napoleon Dynamite.
yeah, the other one. What's his name?
Andy
It's
Dick,
not Dane Cook. No, no, he's
D-
literally a lead.
Dak Shepard.
Dark Shepherd, that's the one.
I wait. I just want to.
The other hack.
I
The
just want
other
to
hack.
remember this moment forever, where you say the hack comedian, I say Andy Dick, and you say no.
No, I said the other one, not Dane Cook, not Andy Dick, the other one. Three hacks in a row. Yeah, Dark Shepherd's the one because I'm thinking of his face. He's got the most memorable face of the three. I'm not saying something to Andy Dick. Yeah, I have seen this. I had this on DVD for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
It isn't right. So I thought it was going to be like Clerks, maybe. I guess is the best example.
Oh, God.
You know,
You're holding up
Clerk.
Clerks as the high bar here.
Yeah, compared to Employee of the Month, I absolutely am. But it's sort of like more of a slack off kind of.
Yeah.
If it was done
Well,
10
let's do
years
Slacker.
earlier.
Let's use Richard
Yeah,
Linklater
yeah,
as the high bar.
yeah. No, 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 no. Because yeah, so it sucks. Jessica sucks in it. I mean, all three of them. I actually like Dax and Dane should have been a worst actor
Yeah.
as well. Like at least a nod. They kind of got robbed here, but she is pretty wooden. It is her role. Like she is just. I mean, I could be wrong. Like this could be something I've just made up in my head. But I'm pretty sure she's like the only female in the film. Like I absolutely like I have some weird recollection that she's literally the only fucking.
And
There
this
might be
isn't
some like
acknowledged. They're not doing like a why the
no
last
no
man of
no
like
no
she's the
no
only
no
woman who
no.
exists in the
She
world.
she absolutely it's just one of these very it's 06 now. We're in American Pie knockoff territory. We're in
Okay, just looking at the cast list on Wikipedia, Barbara Dodd as Granny. Otherwise, that's the only potential.
that's Dax's or Dane. I think it's Dane's granny or some
Yeah.
shit. Like there you go. And I can remember. I can see. Okay, I can remember that now. But I do just be like, what?
So they've got a grocery store that's staffed exclusively by men.
By hot comedians. But yeah, Jessica deserves a nod here. So okay, I'll 100% understand that one.
It's just funny to me that it features Pedro Sanchez from Napoleon Dynamite. So we've had John Heder in The Benchwarmers, and now we have Pedro Sanchez, or to give him his actual name, Efren Ramirez. So this is just like the dying of the light for people capitalizing on the momentum from Napoleon.
100%.
Moving on, we have Kristana Loken in Blood Rain as Rain.
And like honestly, I'm going to say no. I kind of covered it before when I talked about Blood Rain.
Yeah.
She isn't a great actress. She's not good in things like Perfect Plan, Terminator, and stuff, right? But like, I prefer her to like Mila Jovanovic.
Yeah.
I don't think she's that bad. She's probably one of the best parts of Blood Rain because it's what's her fucking name? American Pie girl in Alone in the Dark. Plastic surgery now.
I don't know.
Christian Slater. Look up for me. She's terrible. She's fucking dreadful. So like, she's better than her. Oh, fuck, not Alison Hannigan.
Yeah, that's the only one. I knew it wasn't her, but
oh, hold on, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Tara Reid.
Tara fucking Reid. Yeah, see, Tara Reid and Christian Slater carrying a film is fucking awful. No, I'm gonna give it to like and she's working with good people as well. Like she's all right as a vampire. Like like it's a Terminator effect. I like her in Terminator 3. She's no Robert Patrick, but she's fine for the role.
No Robert
Yeah, no,
Patrick,
I
but
mean,
better than Sam Worthington.
yeah, she's better than Jessica Simpson.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Next up, we have Lindsay Lohan in Just My Luck as Ashley Albright.
I've not seen Just My Luck. I'm on the Lindsay Lohan
Hate train.
resurgent. Yeah, yeah. No, no, yeah. On the after her winning me over for this podcast,
Okay, that's good.
she can't do. Yeah, no, she's turned around.
I was worried that
good,
I was gonna have to go to the mattresses for Lindsay Lohan because
no, I've changed my like that. We can always go back to that
we've
episode.
successfully changed the heart of a man here.
Yeah. What does it take to change the essence of a man?
Yeah, exactly. Seagal. It was Seagal for me. It's Lindsay Lohan for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. I assume Trust My Luck's like a teen rom-com though. That's 06 Lohan.
It's wild. Like I watched it for this, and it was so fun. Like, so it's basically like It Follows. It's like sexually transmitted luck of Lindsay Lohan has the best luck in the world and Chris Pine has the worst luck in the world.
Chris Pine.
And they kiss at a party and her life turns to shit and everything just starts going great for him. It's a McFly vehicle as well. Because Chris Pine works in a bowling alley and he's trying to get McFly signed.
Okay.
And so it's like, bad news, boys. If it doesn't work out, you're going to have to go back home to the UK. They're going to deport you because you're just like the house band of this bowling alley. And so they kiss and things start going well for Pine and they start going badly for old Lilo. And so she is like, because she doesn't know she doesn't know who it is. She kisses like a random masked dancer at a ball. And she has to track down like all of the potential guys. And she has their like headshots and acting CVs and goes on a tour around New York City, like assaulting all these men who could potentially be. And like, it's really interesting. I had so many questions due to the like It Follows premise of, I was like, can Chris Pine, like, does the luck only transfer between those two? Because I was like, okay, at the end, obviously they're going to get together. And I was like, maybe they're going to sort of alternate they'll make sure like they'll kiss each other goodbye in the morning and it'll be like, oh, like this is your day with good luck, this is my day with bad luck. Or it might be like, hey, I've got like a big presentation today, do you mind if yeah, sure, honey, whatever. I thought it was going to be that. And I was like, and then what happens if like he cheats on her because he then transfers the luck to like someone else and it's just like Just My Luck 2 where they have to track down where this luck has gone off to. But Just My Luck, insane premise and pretty fun as far as these like high premise teen comedies go.
This is pre-Star Trek Pine, so he must have been
got him the role.
It's got him the role, yeah. He did all right after it, and he's escaped a nomination, so I assume he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. This is the only nomination, and this is like pre I Know Who Killed Me, so I think it's Mr. Razzie just hating ex-child star Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah,
because she's decent enough.
I would think she would be, yeah.
Charisma to burn. And then we have Hilary Duff and Haley Duff in Material Girls as Tansy and Ava Marchetta.
No comment. Did you watch it for this?
I did not. Apparently, it's loosely based on Sense and Sensibility, but no comment. Yeah, I've seen Hilary Duff in Cheaper by the Dozen, but I think that's probably it. Yeah, no. I'm guessing this is Mr. Razzie just hating things that aren't made for him again, probably.
Yeah, again, these films won't pop up anywhere else. She's worst actress problem.
Yeah.
He's worst supporting. His problem with women.
Yeah, exactly. Again. These women and their uneven breasts. How dare they? How dare they? These Stacys would never consider getting with an involuntary celibate like me. So, worst supporting actor. David Thewlis in Basic Instinct 2 and The Omen as Roy Washburn and Keith Jennings.
So that... you were saying there's going to be... I was wondering what the follow-up nomination were.
Yeah.
Right, so I have seen the Omen remake.
I knew you would have.
Of course I have. It is not bad.
Yeah.
You've seen it?
No.
No. Have you seen the original?
No.
Or the... Okay. We're in the mid-2000s, so all my horror classics are being regurgitated and spat out in reboots and remakes. We've got literally every franchise has probably been touched at this point, inappropriately by Hollywood.
They're just looking at like, oh, can we do a remake of The Tingler?
Well, I mean, even going on it, like The Wicker Man is the same fucking year,
Yeah,
so like
true.
it's an unnecessary. The Omen original hasn't aged fantastically for me.
Yeah.
I never hold up with like The Exorcists and stuff that I go on about. The remake is very mediocre.
Yeah.
It is not bad. It is not good. I don't remember Thulis in it.
Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch it, but it's definitely one of those middling. Oh yeah, it happened. You know, like the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels a bit later,
Yeah.
reboots later, but it's the exact same feeling I had. Right? Yeah, it's what I expected. It's the same thing again, but done in 2006.
Yeah.
What more can you say? He doesn't deserve anyway for anything. It's not a terrible film. It's not going to pop up again. This is just to double down on him for some fucking reason because he's fantastic. He is great in Basic Instinct 2. He's a great actor. Yeah, fuck him. No, fuck Mr. Razzie.
Yeah, seconded. Think he's great. I just want to float a potential patient zero for the horror remix. It's everyone looking at Gus Van Sant and his remake of Psycho and being like, oh, that was a pretty successful.
I think.
What if we
Well,
just
like,
add the scene of every horror villain jacking off? Wouldn't that be?
I think I don't think Van Zant's to blame because there's definitely like a there's still sequels happening in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely not him.
We've still got
It's definitely not him. I just wanted to
H2O,
bring up.
H2Os. I think I'm thinking like The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Might be one of the ones where okay, this is actually feasible for us to do reboots, especially the cheaper ones. But yeah, like no way. Next one.
Martin Short in the Santa Claus 3: The Escape Clause as Jack Frost.
Inevitable, wasn't it? I oh, like I'm gonna say no just because I wouldn't watch this film if it wasn't for Martin Short.
Yeah.
I am a Martin Short fan.
Yeah.
There's something about his energy that I'm envious of.
Have you seen Jiminy Glick?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Yeah. I've I know Jim Nicholas from his SCTV
Of course
sketches
you
all the
would.
way
Sorry,
through.
I'm sorry to doubt your Jim Nicholas
Yeah.
credentials. I only
Season 10
Carrie
SNL,
just introduced me to
like,
Jiminy Glick, so I'm
No,
a recent
no,
convert to
no.
Jiminy Glick, and I just wanted to.
He does reprise on SNL as well,
Yeah.
season 10. And then he carries all the way through to his feature film. It's his baby.
Yeah.
I just like Martin Short. I just think he's like I say, I'm envious of his energy. I wish I could wake up in the morning and have like a tenth of his fucking vitality for life. For like because if I was on this Santa Claus 3, I'd be miserable.
Man, yeah.
I would be.
You'd have an
2000
on-set therapist just getting you each day.
I would be fucking Alec Guinness or
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. I'm sitting down,
Smoking your way through.
smoking. I'm wearing my pajamas. No lighting, no makeup. Just fucking do it. One take. Yeah, so I appreciate him for this. It's the only reason to watch. He carries it in terms of like I'm gonna watch it, and yeah, it isn't good, but it is the Santa Claus 3, and no, fuck it, like two strong no's for me to be honest.
Yeah, no, seconded really. Canadian national treasure. He's not deserved for this. Then we have Ben Kingsley in Blood Rain as Kagan.
Yeah, I covered that. Ben's not good, but he's directed by Uwe Boll. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
He probably is like unfortunate not to be chewing through the scenery from what I remember. I'm not saying he's given a nuanced Gandhi performance here, but like if he was hamming it up a lot more, he could probably be more fun. I remember him though, and that's a really good sign. I can picture him in the film. I can go through things in my head and stuff. So again, no, a 3 out of 3. No, a big no for me.
It's kind of what we said about Basic Instinct, is there are just these sort of like British thespian types like David Thewlis, Ben Kingsley, where they're just kind of good no matter, like they have a baseline where they never really drop below.
It's pyramid to say it as well, but Michael Madsen is probably more of a deserving nom, unless he's next up on the fucking list.
He is not.
He's okay. No. Yeah, he would have been more deserving because this is 2006 Michael Madsen, where he's me. I'm not fucking doing anything, mate. I'm gonna sit down.
He's on the phone to Quentin, be like, "Are you sure there's not a part for me?" So next up, we have Mr. Daniel DeVito in Deck the Halls as Buddy Hall.
Oh, I like it. It's like Beetlejuice, saying he's appeared. Oh fuck, I have seen Deck Balls. That's with Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, so interestingly, Matthew Broderick isn't nominated, which I think
Yeah,
he's probably more of a target than
100%. Danny
DeVito.
DeVito's the only reason to watch fucking Deck Balls.
Exactly, yeah. Meanwhile, Mr.
100%.
Mr. Razzie is saying that what? Manslaughter is okay? I don't give a
I'm
shit.
sorry. Yeah, no, Broderick, it's oh 06, so any of that boyish charm's long gone for Broderick. He can't get away, can't keep getting away with it. No, this is another one strong though. I have seen Deck the Halls though. Seen it a few times. It's that it's a trope now as well with you think of like Christmas Vacation and stuff with the neighbors and some of the scenes probably it is Christmas Vacation. I'm remembering a little bit in places, but no, DeVito's the only reason to watch it.
It's funny with Tim Allen because I kind of get it confused with Christmas with the Cranks a little bit.
Yeah, which has been similar timeline.
Yeah,
as well.
very similar. Yeah, but if Danny DeVito is bad in your film, I kind of feel it's almost your fault. Like almost feel you might have miscast 100%. Him because he does quite a range of things quite well. That if you can't make use of Frank Reynolds or the Penguin or the Lorax, or Matilda's dad, then like something's gone wrong with.
Well, I mean. Yeah, I've loved DeVito all my life. Like you're saying, the range he can go from. Like you're on there from the Penguin. I go for like Louis from Taxi is how I first obviously know him and love him. To Frank Reynolds, to everything, to Junior, to Twins.
To that guy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
to One Flew. Like he's a fantastic actor.
He's great,
And we're talking, this is a bang, bang, bang of people I really admire and appreciate as well. Like
it's your ideal dinner party. It's Martin Short, Danny DeVito, Ben Kingsley.
If Malcolm McDowell wins this fucking award, then I am in a pool house,
Well,
it's a big no for me.
One person who I think you might want to uninvite is the winner, M. Night Shyamalan in Lady in the Water as Vic Ran.
Yeah, hey, he's deserved. He is not a good actor. Yeah, okay, all the noms, no, but this is a big this is what I remember about Lady in the Water. His performance, because he sucks in Signs, he sucks in everything.
Yeah,
but he's briefer in other things.
Yeah, he basically, it's like as soon as he like years ago when I dated a stand-up comedian, watched her a bunch of times at this like comedy night in Glasgow. And there was a guy who he ran the night and he was the compere and he was like so toxic. Like he was like the act would sort of build the enthusiasm up in the room and then he would just get on and suck every last bit of hype out until the room was completely dead, and then he'd be like, and then your next act, and hand it over to them. He was just terrible at killing the audience. And M. Night is a little bit like that, where he's going to appear in his films, and as soon as he does, it starts a timer, because it's sort of like depleting the goodwill that may have been built up by what he's been doing behind the camera, of like, okay, I know you want to be in this, but get this man off the screen as soon as humanly possible. Like, in Knock at the Cabin, he plays like a shopping channel salesman, and I'm like, good. That's exactly the level of part you should be kept to. Is your Alfred Hitchcock essentially. You're not like hanging out and delivering dialogue at a pivotal part in the movie because he is an atrocious actor.
100%. Yep, 100%.
Well deserved. So, we're supporting actress. We have Michelle Rodriguez in Blood Rain as Katarin.
I forgot Michelle. Okay, there was someone I was like, I knew the cast was good. I knew I liked a lot of the cast, and it's probably the reason I wish Blood Rain was better. It's probably why I remember it. I am a Michelle Rodriguez fan. I'm like unapologetically. I think everything from fast films, which aren't my favorites, to the Machete films, to anything she does. Avatar, I like Michelle Rodriguez. I forgot her though, so that's not a good sign, despite liking her. And Blood Rain is easy to pick up because you're directed by Uwe Boll.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it sucks to say, but maybe it's deserved. But yeah, I still like her.
And then we have Jenny McCarthy, our returning favourite in John
Returning,
Tucker Must Die as Laurie Spencer.
which I've seen. You've seen John Tucker Must
I
Die?
have not.
I watched it. I seen it once. Didn't I see it in the cinema? I can't remember if it was like a DVD on a date or like a cinema date. Like I remember the premise. I don't remember Jenny McCarthy in it. I assume from what I remember, which is very little of her, she hasn't improved since Dirty Love. You know, she peaked with Basketball, and that's like '96. It's 10 years ago. She's probably well deserved. Although it hasn't popped up again, John Tucker Must Die. So Mr. Razzie's not seen it, and he's just trying to cash in some previous chips from Dirty Love.
So next up we have Kristen Chenoweth in Deck the Halls, The Pink Panther, and RV as Tia Hall, Cherie, and Mary Jo Gornicki, respectively.
I haven't seen what the fuck's RV. I've never heard of that.
RV is the movie about an RV starring
Who'd have
Robin
thunk it?
Williams and Jeff
Uh,
Daniels.
could have just made that up for all I know. I have seen the Pink Panther reboot.
Yeah, we've spoken
Um,
about that on
we've spoken
previous
of this.
episodes.
I don't remember her. I don't recognize her name.
You'll know her. She's like a big musical theatre woman. I know
Okay,
her primarily as Pushing Daisies. She's in Pushing Daisies.
okay.
And I just want to flag up. So Tia Hall, I think she's Danny DeVito's wife, which problematic age gap, ahoy. I think there's about
Probably.
like 25 years in between them. So maybe that's why Mr. Razzie's nominated them, because he's like, I don't stand for any of this kind of
Hmm.
nonsense. But yeah, no, she's one of those people that, like, is probably not dissimilar to Danny DeVito in like she does like a quite broad range of things quite well. That if she's
Hmm.
bad, it's probably because you don't know how to use her. Of she's
Hmm.
like good at being that sort of like very on kind of annoying musical theatre presence.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Mr. Razzie's problems with women, him just wanting to pad out the list. And he's like, who's been in a bunch of movies I didn't like? Because next up, we have Kate Bosworth in Superman Returns as Lois
Oh,
Lane.
Superman Returns. You've seen Superman Returns, haven't you?
So I haven't seen it in a bunch of years, but I am, of course, a fan of Bryan Singer and everything he does and stands for, and Kevin Spacey while we're at it. I
Yes.
loved Superman Returns. That was the
Yeah.
first Superman movie I saw, like pre-Reeves or anything. So
Okay.
I really liked that film.
Okay.
It's inspirational to kids with asthma that you too might be related to the Man of Steel.
I went to see it in the cinema.
Yeah,
I vividly remember going to see it
same.
in the cinema.
Yeah,
I am a Reeves generation.
yeah.
It's 1 to 4 as
I'm a
well.
Reeves generation, says man born in the 90s.
No, as in I grew up with them.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know.
I all 4 of them,
I'm a
and
Dean Kane man myself.
I grew up with Dean Cain. In fact, he might have been my first Superman, Dean Cain.
Yeah, he's mine. For my
Definitely, I
sins, it is.
watched Channel 5 any day of the week. I went into this, I think, assuming it was Superman 5,
Yeah.
which kind
It
of
kind of
continuity
is.
wise
Yeah.
is kind of. I don't hate Kate Bosworth in it.
Yeah.
You know my feelings on Man of Steel
Yeah.
and Amy Adams.
Yeah.
So maybe it's retrospectively I'm thinking kind of. I haven't seen it since the cinema, to be fair,
Yeah.
but I loved it and it does not stick out in my brain in any negative way.
Yeah.
So I'm a big no for me. Love Superman fucking Returns. It's a forgotten gem, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Again, it's what we've pointed out countless times in the past. These movies that crop up solely so he can nominate like female actors. Like
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's stupid. I would say as well, he's probably my favorite Superman. Who's that guy? What's his name?
Brandon Routh.
Routh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember the name, but he's probably my favorite Superman performance, other than maybe Reeves. I really
Yeah, I
like
think
him.
he's great. Yeah, it's a shame that
Really
it
fun.
didn't really serve as much of a launch pad for anything,
No,
because
no,
in
no.
this and Scott Pilgrim, in pretty much the only two things I've ever seen him in, he's
Hmm.
great.
But I'm glad he didn't pop up. But yeah, like again, Mr. Razzie just who to pick on.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
And the winner, Carmen Electra in Date Movie and Scary Movie 4 as Anne and Holly, respectively. So a truly bleak year that they were able to sneak 2 of these fucking things out in 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The date I've seen date movie, I've seen epic movie. I think I've seen one of the other ones.
Superhero movie?
No, I can't fucking remember. I've definitely seen date and epic
Yeah,
movie.
not the
I
one
hate
with
them.
convicted paedophile Drake Bell.
Oh,
Alleged convicted paedophile, allegedly convicted.
yeah, I fucking hate them. I don't think I've seen Scary Movie 4. I think I've just seen the first three.
Yeah.
I definitely seen the first three. I don't think I've seen 4. I don't remember it. A Carmen Electra is terrible. I mean, it's Carmen and it's
Dirty Love.
McCarthy. Yeah, it's Carmen and McCarthy again, popping up, getting a little
Yeah.
reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, she's not a good actress. That's fair. That's fine. Whatever. They're terrible movies. They should be nominated and put throughout this. So Mr. Razzie should have fucking watched these, so you could nominate other people and put them in worst film and stuff, because these are fucking bad. These are bad, like artifacts from the mid 2000s. Like,
Well, when he chooses things like Corona zombies and whatever in the pandemic, and we're like, okay, yeah, whatever, fish in a barrel, but like, yeah, the date movies, like, if you're gonna,
awful.
I mean, it's good for us that none of them ever won, but
Oh,
like,
thank fuck,
if
yeah.
you're nominating them, then it kind of like you open yourself up to like, why is this not appearing elsewhere?
Yeah, 100%.
So, worst screen couple. We have Sharon Stone's lopsided breasts in Basic Instinct 2. Kind of cover that in the first half. Hillary and Haley Duff in Material Girls. Not seen it or anything they have done together, so no comment. Nicolas Cage and his bear suit in The Wicker Man. So already scraping the bottom of the barrel with person and clothes they wear. You couldn't be like Nicolas Cage and the bees in The Wicker Man director's cut. Tim Allen and Martin Short in the Escape Clause, in the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause. Not much of a couple, I would say.
No, not at all.
Imagine how good a film it would be if they were a couple.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, a divorce clause,
Yeah.
I would like that, yeah.
I'm worried that my husband doesn't seem invested in our civil partnership.
like-
It would be. I don't know how progressive Lapland was
I don't
with
know
gay
how
marriage,
I would
but
be. He's my husband's a bit distant. He's cold-hearted. He's Jack Frost. Yeah,
I was thinking it's the
I'd watch
opposite of
that.
Martin Short is the one that's full of energy and enthusiasm, and Tim Allen's just like, I would rather be in anywhere else. Okay, and then the winner, Sean Wayans and either Kerry Washington or Marlon Wayans in Little Man. So make your fucking mind. If you've nominated them both for worst actor, it kind of has to be them. Like, it's them.
Yeah.
It's them. It's them. It's
It's
not
them.
like either
It's
Kerry
not.
Washington or. And like,
And that's good, because I don't want Kerry Washington winning a Razzie, so I'm gonna just in my head retcon this to be the Waynes getting it for their. They can have a Razzie each now, and I like that.
well,
That's how I'll dole out the awards.
now who I'm just realizing is a bullet dodged because he's an actual couple. Tracy Morgan is the little man's sidekick. He like facilitates. He's like the sidekick who does the robbery with them. So
There you go.
it should have been them. But yeah, can't trust Mr. Razzie to know what a couple is. Loveless incel Mr. Razzie.
Allegedly.
So then we have worst remake or ripoff.
Nice.
The Wicker Man goes without saying. The Shaggy Dog was a remake of a 60s TV show, 60s sitcom, I think. Or maybe, no, I think it was one of those classic Disney movies. That's what it was.
It does sound like a classic Disney movie, yeah, when they're live action 60s, 70s.
It's not Walter Matthau, but it's someone.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
It's someone
You
like
can
that.
AI generate it, and I believe it.
I think I might have seen like the original one, like on VHS or something. I think my mum was like one of those, like, you've got to watch this. Fred McMurray was the original Shaggy Dog.
Okay.
Poseidon, completely forgot about that. Big
Yeah,
year for
yeah,
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, I fucking surprised he hasn't watched it, so that's why it's just popped up here.
Because we know how much he hates. Like, he made an award for the guy who did the original Poseidon Adventure, so you'd think he'd be all over that. Then we have the Pink Panther. Yeah, and then
Kind of goes out saying.
and then the winner, Little Man rip-off of the 1954 Bugs Bunny cartoon Baby Buggy Bunny.
Oh, fuck off. Does Bugs Bunny commit crimes with Tracy Morgan, does he? Fuck off.
No, it's the one, where there's the gangster babyface Finster, who's like one of those, like, he's tiny, he has like a big hat, and he's like, hey.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, he
fuck
goes
off,
undercover as a baby. Yeah, it's
Fuck
way
off.
more tenuous. As we've said, it's really a rip-off of the Bad Santa franchise.
Yeah,
So.
yep.
Then it's weird. So ordinarily these would be condensed, I think, because we have the category worst prequel or sequel. And so we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning.
That's a key. Okay, nice. We're getting back into my land. I have to be honest as well. I have seen every Texas. I've said that before.
Yeah.
The first two are two of my favorite films for different reasons. I've said many times. The Beginning is the prequel, and I'm gonna not lie. I have completely replaced it in my brain with Texas Chainsaw 3D,
Yeah.
which is the prequel sequel to the first film, the direct prequel to the first film, and then I've also replaced it with Leatherface,
Yeah.
which is the prequel to Texas Chainsaw 3D, which is the prequel to the Texas Chainsaw. So there's too many fucking prequels, and I totally forgotten the beginning. It's the one that is not sticking out of my brain. Mr. Razzie hasn't seen it, which is nice because
Yeah.
it's not popped up anywhere else. So yeah, it's strangely enough, it's probably the only Texas Chainsaw I have no comment for,
I wasn't
because
expecting this.
I've told I've because those two prequels after, like, you shouldn't do this to me. You shouldn't just give me this over and over and over again in different ways. Again, it's why I love Texas Chainsaw 2 so much and why it's one of my most beloved sequels. Give me something different. I've just replaced it in my brain. And again, it's 2006. Like I was saying with the Omen, there's too many safe, bland remakes that don't go crazy enough one way or the other.
Yeah. Then we have the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. Kind of said all we have to say on that.
Technically the worst of the trilogy, so.
Then we have Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties.
It's the Prince and the Pauper one, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, if you love as you know, when you say worst sequel, it's implying that the first one was really good. So yeah, like, I have seen it. I remember the first one a lot better than the second one.
Yeah.
So I don't have too much of a comment, but again, it's random just to pop up here, whatever.
So I was in the vicinity of this being on in the background a little while back and refreshed my memory, not having seen it since it came out. Got Billy Connolly in it and a truly weird voice cast. So we had Tim Curry played Garfield's twin, the man in the iron mask version of Garfield, and Bob Hoskins is in it, Risa Fantz is in it, Vinnie Jones is in it, Joe Pasquale is in it, Richard E. Grant is in it, Sharon Osbourne is in it.
It's the London Pauper. So it's a very Basic Instinct 2 cast there. It's very London based, isn't it?
Good year for UK cinema.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm asking it. Jennifer Love Hewitt returned for the sequel?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just like, if it's gone so British, I assume not.
Along with part 0.5 of a Razzie winner, Breckenmeyer. So everyone's back. So it's kind of perplexing that Garfield hasn't cropped up earlier. This is going to be an even larger elephant in the room, pun intended. Big Mama's House 2?
Oh. I have seen Big Mama's House 2. Of course I fucking have. I do not like it. I don't hate the first one. The first one's shit. Obviously it's shit. But like, when you're a pre-adolescent, 13-year-old boy or whatever, it's one of those, Martin Lawrence is dressed up in a fat suit as a lady. Like,
wouldn't it be crazy if my mom was that big? Wow.
It's Mrs. Doubtfire for the Martin Lawrence audience.
It's Mrs. Doubtfire for morons.
Yes, and I was a moron, so I get it. The second one is really bad, really fucking bad. And again, even as a stupid moron teenager, I realised that. I have seen the third one, and that's even worse.
Wow, I thought the third one came out in your in your period where you were like, I'm better than this.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna. Life's too short.
was. I was. That's the one with Son. I remember it though. I do remember it. It's stuck in there. The Texas Chainsaw, the beginning's been erased, but for some reason the Big Mama's house lives rent free.
Big Mama's legacy.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back. Yeah, like, but very much strange that's just popped up here. Yeah, again, technically a much worse sequel. So okay, fair enough. It's the Garfield thing. I'm not gonna defend it.
And then, of course, the winner is Basic Instinct 2. So you kind of have your hands tied. If it's one worst picture, it probably needs to win the category it's nominated in. But yeah, it's a more safe choice than a lot of these other ones.
Yeah.
Worst director. Keaton Ivory Wayans for Little Man. Entirely deserved. Little Man is terrible. Just fundamentally flawed. You would think like, yeah, no, sorry, Marlon, the technology isn't yet there to match your vision of a man being this little. Maybe come back in a couple of years where we can do this without you looking like an abomination unto the Lord. So yeah, he's kind of deserved for just pursuing the movie down from that point. Ron Howard for the Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
Weird late appearance, very late in the
very,
day.
Very late appearance. Yeah, no. Why?
Yeah.
I've seen Da Vinci Code. It's
yeah
fine for what it was. Yeah. Like what? Why? I don't get any reason why Ron Howard has been. I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard. I don't understand. Like, Ron. Her dancer, fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. I have no complaints about it at all.
It's just your classic thing of he clearly watched the Da Vinci Code and was like, this is completely fine except the camera. There's just in the wrong position. There's something not quite right here. Because, yeah, like I know lots of people hate the Dan Brown adaptations. And if you hate them, you kind of need to commit to not liking them more than just the director. But anyway,
well, that's exactly it.
Who am I?
And you're gonna fucking tell me that like it's a worse directed film than Garfield 2 or Santa Claus 3 or some shit. Like fuck this. Like nonsense.
Yeah.
M. Night's probably gonna. Where's M. Night? Is he next up?
He's not next up.
Okay.
We have Michael Caton Jones for Basic Instinct 2, who we've also discussed. Fighting a losing battle, but like, yeah, that movie's pretty badly directed.
It doesn't help. If it wasn't Sharon Stone, like we said, I think you could have, because like Thulis is fine.
Yeah.
And, like you did direct people. You did direct. You did have things in it that I like.
It was a thankless task for old Caton Jones for sure.
Yeah.
And then we have Mr. Razzie throwing down the gauntlet. Uwe Ball for Blood Rain.
100%. Probably should have won.
Well, the winner is M. Night Shyamalan for Lady in the Water.
Okay. That's a double win for Mr. Knight.
Swooping up.
Yeah, okay. He's welcome aboard the podcast.
Yeah. So like deserved nomination for sure, but it's kind of odd to I'm just coming out. I've watched Lady in the Water and I'm now an M. Night stan and I don't think this was deserved, so I'm gonna fight your corner, M. Night.
I'll agree with you. Like, I mean, it's like screenplay, script, yeah. Like, I've rambled on about that for fucking 10 minutes, but direction, he's not a bad director.
Me and Uwe Boll are going to tag team Mr. Razzie on M. Night's behalf. Uwe's going to soften him up, and then I'm going to sub in for the last. Uwe Boll's going to hold Mr. Razzie's hands behind his back, and I'm going to kick him in the groin. Then we are on to worst screenplay, The Wicker Man.
Okay.
Screenplay adapted by Neil LaBute from a screenplay by Anthony Schaefer. So that's the funny thing about The Wicker Man is it was directed and written by Neil LaBute. So I don't know how familiar you are with him.
No.
He's kind of had like a funny trajectory in that now he's like the showrunner of the weird Van Helsing series. But like I know him for In the Company of Men, the movie with Aaron Eckhart. And like he was like a kind of like critically acclaimed playwright. Like he was kind of like a almost like David Mamet-esque playwright, and then just suddenly did The Wicker Man out of the blue. So yeah, that's always like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Okay.
It's yeah. So then we have Little Man, written by Keenan Ivory Wayans, Marlon Wayans, and Sean Wayans. What a fun writer's room that must have been to be in. But yeah, dreadful screenplay. Yeah, not good. Lady in the Water, written by M. Night Shyamalan. Kind of covered that.
Which if he's gonna win, it should be for this, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much worse written than it is directed, that's for sure.
100%.
Then we have Blood Rain, screenplay by Guinevere Turner, based on the video game.
Like Guinevere? You like Guinevere too?
I didn't think I did, but I've now looked up and saw her.
She had one big film.
Yeah.
One big film, and she does TV work as well, I think. Could be thinking of someone else here. But I don't know how the fuck she's on an Uwe Boll film.
Yeah.
That's strange. I mean, again, it's theatrical and the money's probably there. She's not. I don't know. She's not. She didn't do American Psycho 2 with Shatner, so did she? So no, like it's not a well-written film. Of course, it's not. It's Uwe Boll, so I don't think there was much of a script. I know from like Alone in the Dark that or House of the Dead, whatever one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
The Slater one.
Yeah.
That there are very much just make it up as we go along. You have a structure but not really a script.
Yeah.
And we can just ad lib some stuff. What do you think your character would say in these roles? Like what do you think should happen, Mr. Slater?
Yeah.
What do you think? So I'm glad she didn't win.
So as you referred to there, she wrote the screenplay for American Psycho, but she also wrote the film Go Fish, and I have information for you here. Director Kevin Smith was a fan of the movie, particularly a scene in it wherein, in an imagined sequence, some of a character's friends chastise her for selling out and sleeping with a man, and used it as an inspiration for his own take on a similar theme in his own film Chasing Amy. Poorly worded sentence by Wikipedia there.
Right.
Turner has cameos in both Chasing Amy and Smith's later film Dogma. Smith also named Joey Lauren Adams' character in Mallrats after Turner.
Oh, fuck. I did not know she had the Smith connection.
Yeah.
Literally just know from American Psycho.
So yeah, wrote one of my favourite movies of all time, but was also attached to the cinematic Antichrist. So hard to say. And then, of course, the winner, Basic Instinct 2, screenplay by Laura Barish and Henry Bean, based on characters created by Joe Esterhaas. And we're coming to the end here with Mr. Razzie's trademark nonsense, worst excuse for family entertainment. And at least all of these movies have come up. So we have the Shaggy Dog.
Worst family film. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
We have the Shaggy Dog. We have the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. We have Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties. We have Deck the Halls. And the winner is RV.
Oh, so, fuck's sake. That would be the one I've not fucking heard of. I don't know I'm picking Garfield there. It's probably the worst one of the ones I've seen.
Yeah. I
have not heard of RV, and I've not got any recollection of the Shaggy Dog. So out of the three I think I've seen, I'm definitely going for Tale of Two Kitties.
So yeah, as we've covered on the podcast before, me being a devotee of family cinema, I have seen all of them, and RV is the only one I can't really recall. So it might be bad, but it's probably just in a sort of generic, like a bad Robin Williams movie where it's just like a little sad. It's like, oh, why are you doing gags about the toilet not flushing, or like why? Whatever. But yeah, anyway. No real opinion on that. Before we leave the Razzies, there's something to cover here, which is a little oddity for this year. For the first time, the awards program was broadcast over the internet on msnbc.com via cell phone in an experimental live webcast referred to as the Cell E-cast. The show was shot on a series of cell phones and transmitted live by NBC Media Productions.
Oh.
And so there's an actual...
We're going to have to find this.
There's an actual still on Wikipedia where it's a bunch of men dressed up in drag. It looks like they're doing a bit from Dreamgirls, maybe. There's a bunch of men in sort of Afro wigs. And, like, I don't know, we will have to try and find this, because a broadcast on 2006 quality cell phones This is
This is this is this is strange.
yeah.
I want to see this. I want to watch this.
Yeah.
We are gonna have to find this. 100%.
So yeah, listeners, if you can track it down, then send it in. But yeah, we will have to try and find it because no one can say that Mr. Razzie isn't a trier because he certainly attempts a whole bunch of stunts throughout the Razzie's history, and that's one of the
Hmm.
more compelling ones, I've got to say.
No,
um,
absolutely.
why does he do it now? When everyone has Twitch and can just broadcast, you can have 4K
Yeah,
cameras
we
on the
could easily fucking do this now. Like, I mean, no one's gonna tune in. Like, at it.
audio.
But yeah, okay, that was fun. We've had a weird year though, I think, for like nominations. It's not what I expected when I was doing my little research.
Yeah,
There was films. I just a few. I'm just going to throw out here that I expected to see.
yeah,
I expected Saw 3.
yeah.
Was my first one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to get like a. So now we're getting to our torture porn years in 2006. The Black Dahlia and all this starting to come to De Palma. It's like he's going to throw these all together and not really understand them. And
Yeah, yeah.
just killers and stuff. The breakup with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn,
Oh shit.
which is a film so bad I went on a date with a girl to see it
And
when
I
I was
broke up before
16.
the credits rolled.
I literally the film broke me up from her. I was fucking miserable and I just wanted to go home. I could be playing video games or doing something else,
I
but
can't
it's a bad film.
I can't remember if I have told this story on the podcast before, but in acting class, a guy once brought in a scene from the breakup where he, like the other actor, was going to play Vince Vaughn and he was going to play the unnamed bartender. He brought in a scene to
Mhm,
do in which he would have like two lines being like, ah, buddy, that sounds rough. And like, so it sounds like you're broken up.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
like, meanwhile,
um,
I was coming in with my Neil LaBute. I was doing The Wicker Man, or I was doing Streetcar Named Desire, and this guy brings in the breakup.
a couple other ones. I've got a few more. The Final Destination 3 was in the gore category or whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah,
I just expected that this year, and I've been totally wrong.
yeah.
She's the Man was one of
Oh, the
them,
Amanda Bynes
which
one.
yes, I expected that to pop up here,
Yeah.
just because I remember the backlash
Mm.
and how much people hated it when it came out. There is so the one film I went to see this in the cinema that is relevant because we've been speaking about it is Nacho Libre from the director of Napoleon
Oh
Dynamite,
shit, yeah. Um,
where Jack Black's a Mexican wrestler,
do you
which
remember that
has
one time when everyone was chanting my name and I used my strength to rip my blouse?
which was a film I went to see in the cinema, and it had
You
all the
lucky
ingredients of
man.
something that I should have loved it at the time.
Yeah.
Then I didn't. I didn't at the
Oh
time.
wow.
I don't know why. It was
Yeah.
something about it that
Yeah.
just didn't click, and I watched it about
I guess you guys aren't ready for that, but your kids are gonna
yes,
love it.
but I watched it again years later, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, why? Because I remembered
Yeah.
it so fucking vividly.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I actually love this film.
Yeah.
This is my you're not appreciated in your time film.
Yeah.
And because maybe other people I was with didn't enjoy it too,
Mm.
and I know it wasn't well received,
Yeah.
sort of a big, fall from grace from Napoleon. He lost a lot of momentum.
Yeah. Well,
So,
like he was almost like people were almost like he was almost seen as like a Wes Anderson type of
mhm,
like he's like an auteur and what's this guy gonna do after Napoleon? And then he made Nacho and people were like, never mind, next.
mhm.
And like he's been making great films ever since. Like I really like Jared Hess, but like he was on a different level after Napoleon and Nacho
A hundred
immediately
percent.
knocked him down a whole bunch of pegs.
100%. And then the last one, I guess because I thought it would come up for you is Clerks 2. Um,
Ooh, yeah.
which is 2006. I thought, like I said, I did say to you, was going to get worst donkey performance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because was there a Shrek film as well? I was like, they're gonna
Yeah.
find
Oh, oh
he's gonna
man. Yeah.
scour worst donkey performance in a motion picture. He's gonna go through every fucking movie there is. Yeah, I don't hate Clerks 2. I think you hate it a lot more than I do.
It's weird because every year I'm like, do I want to look up what Kevin Smith movie is out? But like I'm willing to like I'm not an incel like Mr. Razzie. I can hold up my hands and say that like it's kind of subjective. Like, I hate Kevin Smith, and like technically I think he's like unimaginative and has all the visual style of a potato, but like I don't think he's I'll keep the powder dry for when Yoga Hosers is out, but like I don't think Clerks 2, like I would struggle to hold up things in Clerks 2 which are objectively terrible on the way that like the little man are. It's just like I don't really like him as kind of.
And that's fair. I as we've said many times, I'm not a Kevin Smith fan. I like Clerks, I like Dogma.
Yeah.
That's it. We're like 2 out of 20 is not a great return.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not going to really die on his hill at all. I don't hate Clerks 2 because it's not just Clerks 1 again.
Clerks 2 has some things going for it. Like, it's not one of the ones I hate unreservedly. Like, it
has hits. It has bits in it that are genuinely funny. It has
let's not go wild, but
no. Some bits that are genuinely funny is not going wild, but it has also some of the biggest misses.
Not least the Goodbye Horses scene, which he does a callback to in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. But it blew my mind of like, because I watched all of his films in the pandemic because I was intent on giving myself like a mental breakdown. And it just blew my mind that I was like, you're opening your film, you're devoting a substantial chunk of time to doing a Goodbye Horses, Silence of the Lambs gag in 2006. I was like, I could do an extended I drink your milkshake bit in 2020, and that would still be more timely and relevant than doing Buffalo Bill gags in 2006. Like, it's just, that's a perfect example of him just being frozen in amber and having just like not grown or developed as a filmmaker or tastes or anything. He's still in 1991.
Yeah, it would have barely been relevant in Clerks 1. You know, like, so yeah, I mean, again, there's bits. I'm not gonna die on the hill of Clerks 2. But it's definitely, you know, I have that tier, and it's somewhere in the 3s and 4s of my most liked Kevin Smith films. Yeah, so that's it. So I got a few surprises here. I didn't expect some of these. There's a few I totally just fucking forgot about. Yeah, like, fair. It's a pretty bad year for cinema for me, in terms of low lows.
Yeah.
But Basic Instinct 2 is not the worst.
Not by far, no.
We could have been watching Larry the Cable Guy, and I cancelled the podcast, so it's all good.
So we're going to say goodbye to the Razzies, but we do just have to say goodbye to another friend. The Stinkers. The final ever year of the Stinkers was in 2006. So the winner, they gave it to Blood Rain, but the nominees were all shared with the Razzies, apart from Zoom, I think. But I'm just going to hurtle through the dishonorable mentions for you.
Okay, thank you.
American Dreams, An American Haunting, Babel, Barnyard, The Benchwarmers, Big Mama's House 2, The Black Dahlia, Borat, The Breakup, Click, The Da Vinci Code, Date Movie, Dougal, The Fountain, Freedomland, Garfield, Tale of Two Kitties, Grandma's Boy, The Hills Have Eyes, Hoot, Idiocracy, Inland Empire, Just My Luck, Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector, London, Medea's Family Reunion, Marie Antoinette, Material Girls, Nacho Libre, National Lampoon's Pledge This, The Pink Panther, Poseidon, RV, Rocky Balboa, The Escape Clause 3, Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, rather. A Scanner Darkly, Scary Movie 4, The Shaggy Dog, Silent Hill, Stick It, The Tiger and the Snow, Ultraviolet, What's Up, Rockers, and The Wild.
Okay, that is... I'm glad we don't do the Stinkers. Wow. So, there's a few there, like, I just need to run through. Idiocracy is one of my favourite comedies.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite Mike Judges.
Yeah.
I fucking really like Inland Empire. It's not my favourite Lynch, but I hold a special place
Speaking
in my heart.
of filmed on cell phones and
yeah, absolutely. A Scanner Darkly, Linklater is one of my favourites. I adore that film more than anything. Rocky Balboa is one of my favourite Rockies. I know you don't love it as much as I do, and that's fair, but...
Well, I just want to flag it up, as must be the only time Sylvester Stallone has ever caught a break. Like, you'd have thought the Razzies would have went for him, but...
I would be fucking fired up if he was here. Um, this is not the year to give him. This is my no. Yeah, that is a fucking strange list there.
I mean, we've kind of touched on it before with our ongoing vendetta with David Lynch, but like hating Scanner Darkly, fundamentally, the Stinkers just hate art. And
Yeah,
like that's an accusation we've kind of leveled at the Razzies, like jokingly with Blonde, but like the Stinkers legitimately do seem to hate any kind of ambition or like any sort of
yeah,
artistic statement.
and that's what I'm saying. I don't know what they want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what did they consider good? You know, like
Yeah.
what else the fuck was there? There was something else you said there. I got also, there's stuff like, what was it, Borat you said?
Yeah.
Which is now a beloved classic. Silent Hill is probably the best video game adaptation there is.
Yeah.
Not a great film, but it's the best of, well, Jesus Christ.
So
Yeah, don't get it.
something which you've always given them credit for is beating Mr. Razzie when it comes to making up their categories. So I'm going to read out a couple for you. So we have Worst Movie Title, which went to Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Which is a great title.
Exactly, yeah. That is showing you don't get the joke. This is just someone advertising how they just do not get the gag. Other nominees: Barnyard, The Original Party Animals; Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan; The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, Snakes on a Plane. Like, Borat and Talladega Nights do not deserve to be held up alongside The Escape Clause.
100%. There's two great titles in there.
Yeah, and Snakes on a Plane also promises what it delivers.
It does. A joke title.
Worst Director, Uwe Boll won that, but also nominated were Brian De Palma for The Black Dahlia and David Lynch for Inland Empire. Chevy Chase took home Worst Supporting Actor for Dougal and Zoom. Amanda Bynes was nominated for She's the Man, but interestingly, She's the Man wasn't nominated as a film.
No.
Most painfully unfunny comedy goes to Date Movie, but the other nominees were Beer Fest, Deck the Halls, Jackass Number 2, and Little Man. So this was a Jackass year, and Mr. Razzie didn't resurrect the most flatulent teen comedy award. Worst song or song performance in a film or its end credits. Snakes on a Plane, parenthesis, Bring It, by Cobra Starship from Snakes on a Plane. A friend of mine rapped that on stage with Cobra Starship, just to name drop. Check on It, Pink Panther by Beyonce, featuring Slim Thug from the Pink Panther. Dreams with a Z by Mandy Moore from American Dreams. The Hava Nagila Slide by DJ Quick from Keeping Up with the Steins. And Oh Kazakhstan by Sacha Baron Cohen from Borat. So
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. How do you not get that joke?
Yeah.
They have worst accent categories. Most annoying fake accent male and most annoying fake accent female. And they have like about 24 nominees, probably all in all. But look over that in your own time. The thing I want to single them out for is the Spencer Breslin Award for worst performance by a child in a feature role. So, here's how you do it, Mr. Razzie.
Wow.
You want to go in on a child, you go in on them, but you name them.
You named the award after them. Wow.
And I feel so sorry for Spencer Breslin, as if he doesn't have to live with like being the older sibling of Abigail Breslin. So having like your sister being held up as one of the best child actors and you being the poster child for being one of the worst, and then you also get an award named after you. Like, I recognized him from Cat in the Hat. That was a thing that like
okay.
I got him from. But he won this year for The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, The Shaggy Dog, and Zoom. So, yeah, eat your heart out, Mr. Razzie.
Wow, that's a surprise. It's a shock. I didn't expect that. Fucking hell, that's pretty bad. I'm glad, but good on the Razzie, escaping the Razzies. Who gives a shit about the Stinkers?
Well, like, at least Mr. Razzie had the good grace to euphemistically name it New Star as opposed to Child.
I could hide her in Children I Hate.
I'm gonna read out the other ones for you. So we have Tristan Lake LeBeau in Superman Returns. So he's like son of Superman, who I think he's good as Wheezy Asthma Kid. He was a representation for all us respiratorily challenged individuals out there. Grayson Russell in Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. He's one of Walker or Texas Ranger. Dominique Saldana in Unaccompanied Minors. And then Houston Tumlin in Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. So he's the other Walker or Texas Ranger. And tragically, he passed away. Like, he became a troop. He joined the army and then committed suicide after returning because of PTSD. So yeah, very, very sad end to the podcast.
Yeah, well, that's a downer, isn't it? Great for that.
Well, that's why you don't nominate children.
No, that's true. That's it.
Yeah. So anyway, on that very tragic note, we're going to conclude this week's episode, and all that remains to be said is if you have enjoyed this very somber descent into tragedy, then you can follow us on social media where we are Watching Worst, and you can email us with any questions, any information, any things you want to share with us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. If you manage to track down the video of the ceremony, then please hit us up there.
Please.
Indeed, if you are Mr. Razzie and you want to pass that along to people who will mock you relentlessly and call you an incel, then
you're still not invited on, but we'd appreciate it. Yeah, 100%.
Then that's where you can get in touch with us. And join us next week when we will be dealing with my new favourite director, M. Night Shyamalan, as we are going to be covering The Last Airbender. So,
very fitting.
Can he sustain this new expectation? Is this going to be a very short-lived love affair with M. Night? Find out next week.
Looking forward to it. See you later, guys.
Welcome back. Oh, my mic stand's falling off.
That's staying in.